Alrighty, welcome back to Scales of Fate, everybody. Woo!
Scales! Let's do it.
Last week was a little bit different, but this week we are indeed going to be playing D&D. With that being said, I'll give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Thank you, Hop and Sting, for providing amazing, lovely, cold aluminum cowboy beer.
It's pretty good.
Delicioso.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty
Isn't that your
good.
slogan? It's all right.
Thank you, D20 Tavern, for being an avid supporter of us. A fun place to play D&D and other board games in Denton, Texas. Go check them out. Thank you, SL Dooley, for all of your support. She recently had posted on her website newsletter a write-up that I did about D&D in general and being a dungeon master. Go check that out. It's a lot of fun. Thank you to Sunspell Dice for making amazing dice, custom dice for our players here. Salvo has recently gotten hers. Neat. Sunspell. Yeah, go check her out. Her Instagram handle is Sunspell Dice. They do an amazing job, and we appreciate all their efforts. We've also been making some social media posts about our character pictures and character profiles. Woo! Those are a lot of fun, super dope. Thank you, Andrew, for your talented artwork there. And am I missing anything? Missing anyone? I think we're good here, right?
Shout out to music.
Shout out to music, yes. Thank you, Michael Ghelfi, for your wonderful compositions that we use on our stream.
He has a great voice.
Oh, yeah? Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, this is all a cappella.
Oh. That's amazing.
The monster noises, all of it.
I didn't even know that. Holy hell.
Lilo and Stitch just plays the music.
All right. With that being said, I'm going to get into a brief recap, and then we'll hop into the game. So, last time you guys had essentially escaped the warehouse and made your way through the city.
I got you.
Keep going.
Made your way through the city during the attack from the chromatic spiral, as well as a nefarious black dragon that also had essentially chased you guys directly down during that time. Stopping over by Rax Mori's, in which you had found that his facility had been more or less raided, and taking him along with you, grabbing some of Jack's old stashed weapons. You guys made it to the Bastille Caverns, the prison holding in which most of the Justice of the Peace prisoners were being held, for lack of a better term. Therein finding Tyro and Grain Mason Malachi protecting themselves inside of a tiny hut from an attack from a couple of dreadnoughts, whom of which you guys dispatched. Handedly, I might add.
Immediately forgetting. Yeah. And immediately forgetting that they explode with fire when they die.
Yeah.
Conflagrate.
Thank you. I already forgot that.
Well, now you know, and knowing's half the battle, Roscoe.
Yeah.
Oh, I got
That's
you.
the majority of the battle for me.
From there, Grand Mason had basically divulged to you guys that this designate orb that Stack has been carrying was one of very ill repute. Supposedly one of many pieces of a containment of the soul of the goddess Takesis / Tiamat. And from there, you guys decided we're going to go help clear out and save the city. We're going to go ahead and basically gloss over that. I'll describe what had happened during that time, but that's not the focus of the session today. More or less, you guys had made it to the college visit, where it in itself was being protected from any onslaught. There were no incursions onto the campus itself. And from there, and with the reemergence of Malachi himself, you guys had banded together to help the rest of the city smooth over, dispatching many chromatic spiral entities, some regular looking rabble-rousers that some of you might have assumed have been Orzhov Syndicate, and additionally During this time, the black dragon from before had not been in the sky. In fact, you had seen a silver one more or less carting people from the city to the Grand Spire Citadel. After a while, for the most part, you guys may have decided to head towards the Grand Spire Citadel, especially since having seen that golden dragon have its head ripped off by the black dragon. And just before approaching the Grand Spire Citadel, you notice a flickering and sparking alightment of the crystal still hanging within the 3 spiraling spires shoot its energy back up into the sky, and the paling is restored. Whew. And essentially right as you guys walk up to the Grand Spire Citadel, there is a lot of harmed people laying in the grass being tended to by different clerics and medicinal users. And not too far off, there seemed to have been an angry mob of people. A lot of them had already made their way into the Grand Spire common ground and were shouting essentially, "You've betrayed us! Why have you let dragons into the city?" And from there, you would imagine a panicked order was issued because a second paling forms around the entire of the Grand Spire Citadel, with a small opening to allow the beam of energy from the crystal to continue creating the paling around the city. You guys now find yourselves here in the courtyard. You don't see a silver dragon around, but you do see Amara Silverwine essentially kind of directing the flow of persons within the area. And she spots you guys and essentially, gets a wide-eyed look and rushes over to the seven of you. Oh my goodness, it's so great that you guys are okay. She seems at a loss for words, and though she does seem confident, there's a little bit of a absent-minded shock on her mind.
Sure.
And she says, well, it's fortunate that you guys all came into the Grand Spire before we had to put up another paling. And as she kind of looks over in that direction, you see there are a lot of townspeople essentially gathered up at the front there. Not only that, but there are several justice of the peace, not with the angry mob, but essentially in a protective formation around them, because far off in the distance you do still see a few explosions here and there, and some shouts and black smoke spiraling into the sky.
Protecting the mob, like facing the mob or away from them?
Away.
Type of thing. Okay, gotcha.
She more or less turns over and looks at you guys and says, I have a lot more triage to do here. Unless there's anything pressing at the moment, you guys may take refuge within the Citadel.
Where's the gold dragon's body?
She
Cut to the chase.
you see her look slightly taken aback for a moment. She says, I am uncertain. It had landed on the northern bend of the river, about a half mile away from here.
Well, do what you must do now, but I do ask to have a conversation with you when you can.
Certainly.
We all would like to. There's a lot that has happened, obviously.
Of course.
I gesture Malachi.
And Malachi is just kind of standing there, gnarled hand over his hip, and looks at Amara up and down and says, That's it.
Let me know where you need me, I guess.
I genuinely could use your help here, Jack, if you don't mind.
Yep.
There are some acid burn peoples over off in the southern corner.
Crack my back a little bit.
From there, a little bit of a fast forwarding. You guys more or less complete a long rest within the Grand Spire Citadel, utilizing the same kind of liaison room that was allowed to you guys prior. From there, after that long rest, you guys are level 4 now. Level 4!
Love it.
More numbers, more feats.
Yeah, I've got 2 feats.
Yeah, for you newbies out there, you get a feat every 4 levels, which is cool.
Or ability score improvement.
Unless you're a fighter, because after level 4, it's every 2 levels, which is absolutely wild.
Yep. All the numbers.
Fighters.
But from here, more or less, Jack and Amara enter the room together at the same time. Just for expedience sake, Jack, we'll consider you have a long rest. There's no point to deny you that.
You have enough coffee to equate to a long rest.
Coffee is rest.
Yeah, we're ready.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. So the 2 enter, and almost immediately Amara goes and finds a rounded cushion and just plops down and lets out a heavy sigh. And calmly, absent-mindedly, looks on the ground, and then, Xeris, do you still happen to have my pack?
Yes.
Thank you. She takes it from you, says, appreciate you taking good care of it.
Of course. Where's Paula?
About that. That does have a little bit to do of some of the conversation we need to have here.
She's okay, right?
Oh no.
She feigns a weak smile, and tears start streaming down her face.
Oh gosh.
I'm afraid not.
Xeris is stunned.
I had a feeling.
She was the gold dragon, wasn't she?
Barbarian wit.
Very astute.
She was a human, Leon, not a dragon.
I saw it with my own eyes, Xeris.
Xeris, Leon, in this matter, is correct.
What?
So, the unfortunate thing here is that not only has this tragic accident occurred, but a lot of the inner workings of Drake Haven itself has been exposed. And with that, the presence of 2 dragons that have resided in the city for a long time. One of them being Paula, a dear friend and a ancient gold dragon whom has been in the city protecting it for centuries. I would like to begin this conversation with the matter that the political fallout to occur after today's events is going to be immense. Not something that I expect any of you to handle. But that being said, if the rest of this conversation could remain private between us, I would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah. I nod silently. With sadness in eyes.
She kind of folds her hands together. I do have some things to tell you, but I gather you all have many questions for me, so would you like for me to begin, or would you like to start asking?
I say go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't you start and we'll fill in the gaps.
Yeah. Tell us what you think we need to know, and then we'll continue to ask beyond that. As we do.
So, as you all may imagine, the existence of dragons of any sort within the city is a controversial topic. The irony here is that there once was an order of metallic dragons that worked with humankind to protect themselves from the tyranny of the chromatic. Drakehaven was founded several thousand years ago by ancient dwarves that had mined in the mountains beneath. And when the war of the claw had occurred, the Order of the Metallic, in hand with humanoid kind, formed a group called the Knights of Damascus. And together, they worked to create these bastion cities. Humanoids, as you may know, are extremely adept in learning and creating and building. Dragons themselves, they live for thousands and thousands of years and are in no rush to excel society forward, especially when most of the time they have selfish deeds. The shorter-lived humanoid kinds aspire to create and to build and to accomplish things in their shorter lifetimes. Combined with the magical teachings of what dragons had to offer, at least the benevolent ones, we formed these bastion cities, and she, as she says, we kind of looks down. I helped form this one.
Are you a dragon?
I am.
Were there others?
You mean the other dragons?
Yes.
Paul and I were the last two.
Oof.
This whole time?
The last two of the metallics?
Of the ones residing in the city, JJ, I understand you should be upset. But we've been working hard for hundreds of years to keep this city safe.
I don't know. See, it makes so much sense now. I'm just surprised more than anything. I'm not mad at you or anything. I don't know how to take this.
It's a lot to process. I understand that.
I completely understand, in the face of the mentalities of a lot of the humanoids that reside in this city, to hide that from most anyone. You never know who to trust or how they're going to react. Most of us have suffered from the hands of dragons, and a lot of people are blinded by their own pain or misconceptions. Having been on the receiving end of a lot of it, I completely understand and respect that decision.
In my experience, not a lot are open to learning, but I've been recently, and I've continued to find more and more out every day about dragons and races of similar origin. And so I guess you're one of the good ones.
I try to be.
Dragons are just like everybody else. There's good and bad.
You're right. That's something that has been the main cause of all of the strife within this continent and this world.
Do you know of any gemstone dragons living still, Amara?
The last of which I had heard, there was only two. A topaz gemstone dragon that has not been around for ages. Seemingly, he had left the cause of society. And rumors of one known as the Dreamer.
I can tell you right now, Dreamer's not there anymore.
What?
I'm assuming this has to do with the conversation you had with Paula recently.
Yeah.
She did inform me of that a little bit. You shouldn't be too surprised that we do share information together very frequently.
That's fine. I trusted Paula with that information.
Assuming that's the Emerald Dragon. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if my character knows that. So
No, it
Okay,
would be
so I'd
something
say
I'd
who-
put together.
So yeah, I would ask, what do you mean by that, Leon?
I'm what's left of the dreamer. That's all I say.
I nod
smiles.
with a goal of talking more about that later.
Xeris will remember that.
I look to Amara and I go, I must find the topaz. Is there any leads you could give me? Or any news of where they possibly could be living?
She kind of gathers her thoughts a little bit and says, I have a friend that lives in a bastion city towards the southwest. A brass dragon. By the name of Dalanok. Dalanok doesn't exactly reside in that city named Gronstadt. He more or less travels in between. He serves as a map maker for humanoids within that city, but I digress. The last I had heard from Dalanok, he had said that rumors of an eruption in the ocean had occurred. More or less, a golden amber light had exploded in a typhoon-like state over the horizon in the ocean, and most of the time when a dragon dies, something of the like occurs. It's not always an explosion. Sometimes it's more gentle, sometimes it's more subtle, sometimes it's a transference of power. But this one is almost precisely indicative of the death of a topaz.
Thank you. I just want you to know that I fight to help the name of good dragons, and I believe that my goal is to help change the idea of dragons in this world. And I know the metallics aren't all that bad. It's the chromatics that are the problem.
That is more than perfect into a segue for another point that I would like to express with you all. The Knights of Damascus, the ones that formed with humanity, did so because the chromatic dragons, in their lust and greed for power, begun a hunting onslaught of gemstone dragons. Now, there being three, metallic, chromatic, and gem, it makes sense that they were going for gemstone dragons instead of the metallic. We, as metallic, have had orders far, far more ancient than the humanoids that live within this world. We were, at a time, stronger. And gemstone dragons had always been more rare, more solitary and reclusive. We had formed the Knights of Damascus in order to stop the Chromatic Legion from isolating them and destroying the gemstone dragons themselves, as well as fighting back for humanity. But it all became too much.
We'll consider that re-established.
I love Leon's no nonsense. Like, there's a dragon, gonna kill it. Dragon I like, gonna save it.
This is not a Venn diagram. Which one do you follow?
Dragon God will do the sorting.
Leon, the Knights of Damascus have long since disbanded. We, unfortunately, have been operating in the shadows for a long time, just trying to protect our last few standing free cities. This is something that is far beyond just the group of you. This is something that has been a losing war for centuries.
So you're saying they won't see us coming?
You know, when you put it that way, yes and no.
I like the enthusiasm.
Nice.
I think maybe they're afraid of the wrong creatures.
We just throw a Leon and a Roscoe at him and see what happens. Yeah.
Amara, do you know of any other potential dragons within the city, metallic or otherwise? Any suspicions, surely?
As far as I'm aware of, there are none. They wouldn't exist within the exist within the city without our knowledge, without having first been in the city before the paling was constructed.
Who do you think the black dragon was?
I know exactly who the Black Dragon was. Let me pull that name up because it's very hard to pronounce because it is
Great.
very draconic.
Theo.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
His name was Bitch. Son of one, actually.
Son of a.
Sound like an aluminum cowboy.
It did sound like an aluminum cowboy.
That dragon is very old and very ambitious. His name is Sajak Malsvir, the Sun Eater. And from what I know about him, his ambitions almost exclusively lie with hunting, killing, and consuming the power of gold dragons.
Oh.
Did you kill him?
Unfortunately not.
So we just left.
Do you know if they have a human form? I mean, I'm assuming they do. Do you know what it is?
Most dragons of a certain age can take human forms. Chromatics themselves as a species are not known to, but if one were to study and become very powerful in the arcane arts, they could learn and master that ability.
I punched the wall.
It sounds like a powerful enough dragon to do such a sneaky thing.
I'm not completely certain. He's a very proud creature. He
They hate humanoids.
not only hates humanoids,
Kill them?
but he also hates all other dragons, including Chromatic.
We'll keep that in mind.
So it seems that the chromatic spiral, this cult following within the city, is intending to aid the chromatic dragons in their siege of the city. Why would they be helping a dragon that hates all other dragons too, including other chromatic dragons?
A question better asked of one of them, but given my personal summation, many dragons that are more malevolent in nature are fascinated with having minions, underlings, creatures that do their bidding for them. The exertion of power for them is very important. It is a massive stroke of their ego in order to get other people to do their whim. The chromatic spiral has existed for a long time, back in the War of the Claw. It was part of the reason why we lost. Many humanoid creatures had infiltrated these safe havens designed by the Knights of Damascus and disassembled them from the inside out, almost exactly like the events of today. Why this particular sect is helping the Sun Eater? Why do they help them at all? Unfortunately.
Most of them don't seem to know much. In my experience, I think we'd have to find out more about who's closer to the top, which I do have a hunch that Theo is involved.
A hunch.
The captain of the Justice of the Peace?
Oh, he's
Yes.
dirty.
Definitely.
And an asshole. But you probably knew that.
I knew the latter. Yes.
Yeah. They go hand in hand a lot, you know. Treacherous bastards and assholes often.
Personality aside, we have reason to believe he is corrupt.
In fact, we have evidence.
What evidence, may I ask?
He's actually sitting in a cell in the Bastille Caverns.
Your evidence is a person, then?
Yes, a witness.
What happened to...
That is both fortunate and alarming. I will send a squadron of Eldritch Knights to go retrieve said person.
He may not still be alive.
That's the issue that I'm concerned with, Jack. If this person could incriminate Theo or any member of the Justice of the Peace, I don't think that we should keep them in the Bastille Caverns for very long.
Agreed.
What happened to Thane?
What timeline
That's the
are
person
we?
we're
Are we day of?
Oh, we're talking about
Are
Cal.
we day of 11 right now?
What are you talking about?
Session 11. Are we still? This is right after everything.
This is right after
Okay,
everything. Yep.
cool. Just
Yep,
making
yep,
sure.
yep. Good question. I don't remember what happened to Thane. What did you guys do? I thought y'all...
Still in your
I
back.
was carrying it.
Oh, you still have him? He woke up during the long rest and is in the facility with you guys, and basically it's just been like shaking.
Yeah.
And
I thoroughly explained everything that Thane has done to Grandmaster Malachi.
okay,
Grand
so
Mason Malachi.
Now
in
just
this
interrupt me.
circumstance, Grand Mason has more or less put him in a bubble.
Okay.
There's a spell that basically encapsulates someone into a sphere. Grand Mason just... boop. So Thane is in a bubble, kind of in the middle of the room. You can't really hear him. Everyone, like, you kind of like see him like he sneezes, but you don't hear anything.
Perfect.
Can't you all see now that this is our purpose? This is what we've meant to be. We're all here. Things don't just happen for no reason.
You know,
Please,
I
Amara, help us.
can't say I disagree, Leon. I feel that sense of purpose you're speaking of.
I will do everything in my utmost power to help all of you. I guess the question really stands. I had originally hired you guys to be investigators for me in order to stop something like this from happening, albeit I did not understand the gravity of what has happened. Moving forward, she kind of gets a 1,000-yard stare and she says, I just want to protect the city.
Well, then we got to figure out the top of this chromatic spiral, because, man, we didn't cut the head off the snake.
Or dragon.
Well, I mean,
Not a dragon.
I think.
I mean the human head.
I think a big part of that would be finding Wygroff in the desert. He clearly knows more than any of the other lackeys that we've taken down. And I don't think Orzhov exists.
Even if that's not his real name, I mean, there's someone at the top.
Agreed,
So, I mean,
but
his name, he may not started off as Orzhov, but that's his name now.
Maybe Wycroft is Orzhov?
maybe though, within the city to help quell things post-tragedy, we could arrest Orzhov. No one knows what he looks like, who he is. They just hear him through the words of other people.
What do you do when this Orzhov keeps doing shit and we say we have him in custody? That's gonna backfire, man.
It'll narrow it down, though. If he feels the need, if it is an actual person existing within this city and we arrest them and all his lackeys are like, oh, time to go home, but then he's gonna push harder and either reveal himself or run. If we can take down most of the people that we know are involved, Theo being number one on the list, and arrest Orzhov publicly, use their own game against them, let's make a scapegoat. I mean, hell, and I click my pocket watch and become this like haggard, buff, like scarred up dude. I'll be Orzhov.
Put on a show. I don't care.
Quite creative there, Thalner.
Swords off.
Kind of gets up and does a little like prancing, like I'm the bad guy, just to make
That
fun
would
of me.
need to be a little bit more convincing.
I can do that.
Let me stop you guys here. I have a couple of questions on my own. First and foremost, less of a question, more of a statement. What you guys are speaking of, getting involved with all of this, it's much more that I could ask of anyone, any seasoned adventurer, any military mind. This is something that you guys need to consider carefully. This is the dregs of a war thousands of years old.
I'm ready to die.
So you're saying this is one of the most important investigations that happens in thousands of years?
You know, when you put it that way,
I want to be a part of that. Yeah. Yeah.
A gemstone dragon is worth 1,000 of us. I will gladly give my life for the cause.
See Salvo do some math and say, yeah, few fewer, but
You don't know my
I
worth, man.
understand the sentiment.
Let's not compare costs of lives on the scales of fate, but let us. God damn it. He did it.
He said the thing.
I think we are willing to take on the risks to bring true justice.
And we are not just any seasoned adventurer or military mind. I
Indeed.
gesture to
Yeah,
the
I'm
seasoned
pretty
adventurer
weird.
and the military mind on either side of me.
Indeed, you guys are quite a motley array of individuals. I do.
Roscoe detests that.
Nah, that's what I was going to use.
Motley, I know that one.
The question I do have is, you are all convinced that Theodore Azarius took part in this endeavor.
We know.
Yep.
Pretty strong evidence pointing to that, yes.
I'll get in contact with Zolgara and send him with a couple of divination wizards from the Spire and have them patrol the city casting Locate Person.
Perfect.
Also, are you familiar with the grafting experiments?
Oh my, right. there's
Only
that.
familiar in the sense of what I had seen flying through the city. But yes.
Yeah, so needless to say, the chromatic spiral is behind that as well.
That's disgusting.
Do you happen to know of like any mad scientists or like disgraced, you know?
I will say I do have some written evidence now that we found in the warehouse, and I present the parchment and emphasis on the beware silver and gold and a justist and illusionist will lead.
She reads it.
The justice is probably Theo, and I think the illusionist is Cassius.
That's how they got into the Grand Spire. One moment. You see her essentially put two fingers to her throat and she begins speaking and you can't really hear anything.
We probably should have led with that.
There's a lot going on.
I know.
And she takes her hand off of her neck and she says, according to many members within the Grand Spire, Cassius has not been seen throughout this entire day.
Oh yeah, he's an illusionist. That wouldn't be hard.
Of course. You're absolutely right, my friend. It's
Wonderful.
Would I know if, like, for example, Locate Person or something like that would stunt that?
you give me a history check.
They have special like warbly illusion magic though, so like maybe normally, but not this time. Like,
Gotcha.
What was the roll? You said history?
History
10.
check. 10. Locate creature, just so you know, above the table. It's a 4th level spell. It's not one that you had
I definitely-
dabbled in, so you don't know the parameters of it.
Okay. Well, then I'd say, is there some way to track him down despite this illusion? magic that he may be using?
Considering the contents of this letter, I will put another team on task to try to find him, but unfortunately I don't. Considering the actual happenstances of the day, I don't imagine that he's very far gone from here.
He doesn't know we know this, so I think...
We found this scroll moments before the attack began.
So I don't believe the Justice of the Peace nor Cassius are aware of our knowledge of the facts, so we may be able to feign ignorance in order to subdue or gain information or something of the sort. We or you, or...
I could definitely feign ignorance.
Certainly.
No persuasion roll needed.
Say feign means to pretend.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Feign? Feign's in the bubble.
Yeah, he sees you point and kind of like shrinks back a little bit.
Oh, I glare at Thane, and I don't normally glare in character, so I'm just...
I also press digitation laser pointer like I did again. Like somewhere where he definitely can't get to it, and like...
He takes zero interest into it, actually.
I really wanted to piss him off.
Amara takes out a journal from the bag that she had received back from you, Xeris, and says, okay, I'll write down the things that I need to take care of. It may take some time to find and apprehend, and you're certain your suspects here are Theodore Azarius and Cassius, correct?
We
tell me
are
what you think.
reasonably suspicious.
Theo is definitely in some shady shit. I'm not sure about this Cassius.
He's been on our case. He's been following us everywhere. Anything pertaining to Malachi, he's responsible for the people who had taken Stack. It's his name's written all over it.
Malachi kind of speaks up. Yes, quite indeed. The issue at hand, Amara, is that upon returning from my excursion into the mountain, I was promptly arrested by the Justice of the Peace. In fact, I'm glad that I had made my little construct here. Hi. Because they did not indeed find the contents of which we had prior discussed. That being the Orb of Dragonkind. She looks back at him and says, "It is certainly a wonder to hear that you did find it. Only slightly disturbing that it is inside of this construct. No, it is okay. It is my designation. But that is quite suspicious and incriminating evidence. I'll do what I can to find and locate these two. In the meantime, what will the rest of you do?"
Where do you want us to do?
I mean,
I'm gonna start infiltrating the shadiest parts of society, trying to find out where these chromatic spiral guys.
It's not a bad start.
I need to prepare. I'll study.
Train and research or look around, trying to figure out where the closest gemstone dragon would be.
That may be a topic for later. There's a lot of people out there that need help. So,
What do you think are... Real quick above the table, what was up with the swamp? The outside of the city? We were planning on going there. So.
Oh, where the army gives all the stuff to the dragons.
Yeah, they were going on an excursion to the swamp because there is a black dragon that lives there, correct? Because you were particularly afraid of it.
yes.
Okay, so...
Do you think it's Sag kind of schmassel some here?
Well... anyways, I want to ask that.
Surprised you remembered that.
I don't know if it would be most wise for us to take maybe a couple weeks to prepare and then head out to the desert in search of dragons. Whitegraph. And they're in fact dragons.
I look at the and say, outside of the paling, the chances of encountering a dragon is significantly higher. However, we're interacting with a dragon
say,
now.
I gotta give you
so I need to
100%
reassess
chance
my
right
math
now.
on that.
Amara kind of chimes in at this point. To be succinct, the swamp nearly due south of the city is indeed the domain of the Sun Eater.
Just like right there.
Yeah.
A few dozen miles, but yes.
It's an unfortunate spot.
A few dozen miles for a, I assume, ancient black dragon.
Oh yeah.
I'm not certain of his age.
Very large, old black dragon.
Very large,
Okay.
very powerful.
Then yes, that is not a very far distance. No.
Let's subdue him, ask him questions, and then kill him.
That
Leon,
ain't happening anytime soon.
Love the enthusiasm.
Cheers to that.
I will take a drink of Clint's.
Thankfully, 2 does not a majority make.
You take a drink of Roscoe's flask. Leon, give me a con save.
and while you're doing that,
flask. Wait, 4 plus 7, so 11.
11. This is spicy. It's very strong, very powerful. There's good flavor to it, but it's kind of being overrun by the burning sensation in your throat. From that drink, you're effectively starting to get drunk. It's very high ABV.
Dragons.
Dragons.
Charlie.
I go with my group wherever, whenever.
so
I'm
you
with
saw,
you.
so you saw what happened to Paula. Is that what you want for us?
Oh damn!
If she couldn't do
Our
that,
heads are probably too small to be ripped off like that.
yeah,
just
we'd
get-
probably
Can
bite-
we
probably bite his side.
listen?
Jesus Christ, that's very
I
insensitive, folks.
understand that you might be emotionally removed from this situation, but I'm not. So please.
Nor is Xerxes, which is why he's angrily rebuttaling with that, essentially. How could you be so confident to just waltz up in there and kill a black dragon? Don't you think that this city would have probably done that if it were so easy?
Not
We
without
must
lack of
prepare.
trying.
Exactly.
We are special. I can feel it.
So,
That's okay.
you've been around for a really long time and seen dragons hunted by all sorts of creatures. Is there like some special way that's been highly effective over the years in taking out a dragon that we're perhaps unknown to us?
You see her kind of like flicker her eyes a little bit and then looks back at you and says, to my knowledge, no.
Tomatoes.
And it also depends on the type of dragon.
They're actually lactose.
Sorry.
Well, that would be true, except they consume the entire creature when they eat it, such as cows, which would have lactose in them, and
Acid reflux, I think, is the term.
acid reflux for a dragon is awful. So,
I think they just call it dragon breath.
Yeah, black and green.
Yes. Alright, anyways. Well,
whatever it is you all plan to do, take your time, consider it carefully. I very, very much do not recommend entering the domain of the Sun Eater.
We will not.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to, so
You could not pay me either.
good luck with that.
I shake Jack on that one like, we're understanding.
you could pay me, but I wouldn't go.
With that
I
being
know
said, I'm going to begin my preparations to comb the city. I'll contact Zolgara and have the Drake Hand take over the Justice of the Peace in the meantime.
To that end, Zolgara is considered a justice.
He's the head of the Drake Hand military, but he oversees the operations of both the Justice of the Peace and the Drake Hand. The only one
Do you trust him 100%?
explicitly.
Okay.
When you reach out to contact him, will you let him know that Thalner, the kobold, would wish to speak to him about the criminal investigation of Tyro Stonesinger?
He waved, Tyro just kind of like waves his hand. Hey.
She already talked to him about that?
She looks over and says, Thea and I had already had a conversation with him once I had gotten her to calm down. Before the attack on the city, he had already agreed to hold a council hearing and more or less discuss that. As of right now, Tyro is no longer considered an enemy of the state. With the council and all the politics involved, they want to hold an actual due process trial on his end. But considering that you have just given me information that would prove his innocence, I imagine that would go over very well.
That's what I want to hear.
So, if there's any other questions, please feel free. But I feel that I must get about to my business.
I put my hand on the lower back of Xeris, and I lean down, and I go, let's chat.
So what are the rest of us gonna do? We should give them some time.
You slide in one silver.
Lean down.
Is this what I did?
How tall are you again? You're super
Almost
tall.
7 foot, yeah.
Yeah. Leaning down to my 6'2" self. Are you reaching down to
No.
touch my lower back?
My arms.
He's got those
there.
gorilla arms.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of like. Ugh.
Leon,
Sure, yeah. Let's talk.
friends don't hit friends.
Oh, it wasn't a hit.
Why did he recoil like that?
Friends don't hit home.
I have no idea. I touch people like that all the time.
A little low. We might need to talk about that.
I laugh and put my arm on Xeris' shoulder. I'm like, let's go.
Shakes my whole body. Okay.
A barbarian touching a wizard, just crack.
Death save
Remember the
starting
safe
now.
word?
Safe word is prestidigitation.
Waffle
Oh,
bun.
you say that all the time.
So, with all that being said, more or less you guys usher about the room and trailing along not too far behind. Malachi had shared a couple of hushed whispers with Amara and turns back to you, Salvo, and says, I believe we have much to talk about, my pupil. Let us return to the visit.
Absolutely, sir.
From here, we're going to do something that I'm going to call a time skip. After the course of this conversation and the events that have occurred, you guys are going to find yourself, when we pick up next in the narrative, a 2 weeks time period has passed. During this time, more or less, the reconstruction, the cleanup, and the resuscitation of the city has been underway. Many of the promises that Amara had given to you guys is being looked into and will take time. And you guys all will have time to take care of endeavors, both personal and interpersonal with each other, that you would like to take care of, given that amount of time and freedom. Considering that in canon, it's been about like 3 or 4 days in the game. So, with that being said, we're gonna go and take an early break. And when we come back, we'll start diving into everybody's decisions and processes during this 2 week time skip. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching Scales of Fate. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. When we come back, we're gonna get into we're gonna get into what was going on during that the 2 week time period, and then jump right back into the narrative. So, stay tuned. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. Alrighty. Welcome back to Scales of Fate.
That's us.
That was our little breaky break, 15 minutes, and we are back in it. So, speaking of when we had left off, we are in the midst of a 2 week time skip. During said time, you guys had a lot of leeway in deciding to do what you would like to do. We had discussed some of it, but most of this will happen on camera. And with that being said, we can either go with whoever would like to go first, or we can roll.
That's fine.
Don't add your initiative modifier. This is going to be a flat roll.
I'll use my ugly dice.
First roll with my new sunspell
High
dice.
is,
You're gonna win.
wait, high is first or last?
Damn.
They're ugly, and they're
So I got a 3.
Okay.
Yeah, that's respectable. Respectable.
What did you get?
18.
18. Okay. Who's next?
12.
JJ with a 12.
12.
Okay, you two, after I get the rest of the numbers, we'll need a roll off.
Roll off 13.
Okay, Leon got a 13.
14.
Roscoe got a 14.
It's almost like it was meant to be.
All right, now JJ and Salvo, you two roll off to see who goes in front of the other.
13.
5.
Okay, so the order will be Thalner, Roscoe,
Keep small.
Leon, Salvo, JJ, and Xerus.
Haha.
All right, Thalner.
Save the best for last.
In this 2-week time skip, considering a lot of what you are trying to accomplish within this time has to deal with Tyro and a lot of circumstances happening there, I will go ahead and tell you that during the search and seizure of Peoples, they did find Theodore Azarius, but they did not find Cassius. Theodore Azarius is currently being held in the prison cells beneath the Grand Spire Citadel.
Were they able to recover Cathis from Bastel Caverns?
They also recovered Cathis, who was sitting in a cell next to Theodore. Okay, so from here, what would you have liked to accomplish in your 2-week adventure?
Well, having gotten the information from Amara that after their conversation, basically they've determined that Tyro is not their person of interest and is basically on bail. We would have gone back to the shop and set up basically a safe haven for people who are rebuilding their lives post the attack. We reached out to a lot of the other businesses in the area that were basically decimated, mainly restaurants, to try and bring our resources together and create basically a soup kitchen to provide free food to those who were affected by the attack and take care of our community. Where our shop is located, I know we previously mentioned it, but our shop is located basically directly in between the layers of the city, where it's all of it's like the wealthier district and then the lower class district. So we basically allowed for everyone to kind of meet in the middle and have a safe place for those who didn't, their homes got destroyed or whatever, however they were affected, and we created this little community on our street corner. Was the tea shop damaged in the attack?
The tea shop had a little bit of bearable damage to the rooftop. It was mostly just falling debris from nearby buildings, but more or less unscathed.
Fixable.
Yeah.
So yeah, starting with that, fixing it up, and then immediately, as soon as possible, reopening to the public to allow people to come in to rest in the process of rebuilding or something to eat, and things like that.
Gotcha. During this time, at one point, Cynthia Silcrest had entered your establishment, and walking up to you directly, she goes, I see that you're a bit busy, but do you mind if I bend your ear for a moment?
I have a moment.
Okay. The two of you walk back down towards the cellar the first time that you guys had a pretty serious conversation. And she sits back atop that barrel that she had prior, and Thalner, or whatever I can call you.
Thalner works. That's the name I chose.
I've had a bit of time to process. In a way, thank you for giving me a little bit of closure for my aunt. I was mostly angered and distraught over not knowing what had ever become of her, but as you could tell, I was a bit shocked by the revelation that I guess we're family.
Yeah, I came.
That's what that scene.
I came to Drakehaven to find a new place to live, and I'd always known my family name, but didn't know the weight that it bore. It took a long time to decide what I wanted to do with that, but I was not well received by my mother as the person who had that family name. I decided to, make a life for myself instead, and met Tyro, and we had our business, and I was content with that. But then after you came into our shop, I don't know, I was inspired to get more involved with the ongoings of the city, and especially those who were affected by criminal activity. I couldn't stand it anymore, and I felt like I had a greater purpose. It's in my blood. It's in our blood.
She gives a weak smile. For whatever that means, but yes. So, Amar and I have had a few discussions with Zolgara, and Tyro's trial will be occurring within a few days, and I wanted to let you know that I will be there to stand trial in the name of your father.
Thank you.
I have a lot more questions of the circumstances revolving around Valatha and yourself, namely where that no good piece of shit that
my
she,
father.
yeah, that she
Yes.
gallivanted off with, but
Unfortunately, I don't know.
you don't?
No. I have vague memories, but he was gone so fast after I was born.
Sounds like him. Well, that being the case, to be a little bit more open booked with you, I have bore very little love for the Silkrest name for a long time. I threw away the birthright of the city being something that I could have influence over, other than on my own whims as a musician and a poet. Additionally, I gave up the school of divination that our family is apt to explore. But part of that also has seemed to cross paths with your life and the goings-ons of this city. And I would like to extend to you, first, a heartfelt apology for my behavior. And second, if there is anything that I can help you with, I will do my best.
And you, Thea, you've always been kind.
She laughs and shakes her head.
I mean, in your own way, but a way that translates well for me. You've been kind, and most importantly, treated me as a human being, though I don't look it.
Aren't you technically an elf?
So it was supposed to be, but they had other plans, and I think that's really what it is seeming like is fate has plans for my life. And this group of people I've found myself with does not seem by chance or mistake. And there are greater things happening both within our family and within the city.
I take it you have some frustrations with Wygroff, and based on your eye roll, not happy with him. His decisions have led to some big questions that we feel we need answered. So anything that you can tell me about him having grown up in the family, you might know more about. I mean, is he, from what I can tell from the evidence that we've found, he's in league with the Chromatic Spiral and intends to help chromatic dragons overthrow this city. And that's a big deal from someone in our family who've been so important in shaping this city and upholding its integrity.
As far as the inner workings of the old man's whimsies, most of the family couldn't tell you how his mind worked. As far as the note that you had shared with me and him heading out into Shades Valley, for lack of a better term, most of us within the family have found this to be a prattling of an old man, something to give him a sense of purpose, still being the patriarch of our family. He had this obsession with the history of dragons and their influence within the world. And as far as I know, he's always wanted to change the tide of existence for humanoids within this world. The fact that part of his prattlings has been reflected in this, that the Vault of the Ancients is what he's seeking, and the balance of the three seals, these were all just folklore stories he would tell us when we were setting us to trance. I could do some more digging, especially since I do have access to the estate. But other than what I know, I've always written it off as babblings, more or less.
Well, I definitely also intend to look into that more thoroughly and perhaps find him and understand what part he played in the attack on this city.
She gets a really serious look on her face and kind of reaches down and places a gentle hand on your shoulder, and she says, "When you leave to find our grandfather, I'm coming with you."
Well, it wouldn't just be me. That all depends on my team and what they would like to do.
Certainly.
I am curious, though. We met a thief at one point that had stolen this letter that I gave to you from Wygroff. That was how we found it. We stole it from her. But it was left in his office for someone to find. Who would he be telling all of this to? Who would he be trusting with this information?
That's actually something I hadn't quite considered. Anyone within the family would have seen this and written it off as some fever dream that he had had. As far as whom he would be specifically addressing with that, I figured that he would just leave it for them. Maybe it wasn't just a general statement to anyone that found it, but I think you might be onto something. There might be some form of confidant or someone more in the know within the family than we do.
If you can instead look into that, who would be the first into his office to find that? It was, I think, a day or 2 days prior to the attack, or a day prior to his disappearance. It was recent. He had left this, and then in that night it was stolen.
I see. And how would someone know that that letter was there for it to be stolen? And why would it have been stolen?
There's something bigger going on within our family and how they tie into the chromatic spiral.
That doesn't sit well with me at all.
I'll look into Wygroff's whereabouts and what that means and the legitimacy of his ramblings. If you'll look into the family that I don't know.
Certainly. I can do that as much for you, cousin.
Strange to have actual family. Tyro's all I've ever known,
Well,
along with some friends from back home.
I'm glad that he's been able to take care of you. And I'm glad to have a family member that doesn't have their nose all the way up their ass. So
I have my moments.
she laughs and kind of hops down off the barrel. Well, I'll begin my investigations. You do yours, and if I need you, maybe I'll find you here.
Yeah, this is always a good place to look for me, and if I'm not here, Tyro knows where I am.
Certainly. She is really awkward for just a second, and like you can tell she's like kind of like thinking about like giving you like a handshake or a hug, and then instead just kind of like straightens up her vest and gives you like a little tip salute and then walks out.
Well, that was awkward.
Adorable.
Do the whole
Not forget.
high five.
From there, was there anything that Thalner would like to have accomplished during this 2 weeks' time?
Probably a little heart-to-heart with Tyro about everything that they've all been through and, sharing what's happened. I mean, he wasn't there for any of it, and Thalner would have just been like, here's all of what I've been through, and what have you been through? Are you okay? Did they hurt you? The whole protective over family thing.
He consoles you for the most part during this conversation. The one thing that he says is that, you've been a son to me for a long time. And we have done great things together within this city. But my heart is telling me that your life is leading in a new direction. I just want you to know that your home is always here.
And I will always know that. I've known my last name to be Silkrest, but I think Stone Singer suits me more.
You see him kind of smile. There's like a flitting of a clear lens underneath his eyelid of it kind of wiping off dust, as it were. And he says,
Don't get soft on me.
hey, you can't get soft. We're stone singers.
Ba-dum-bum.
Speaking of, if you did want to know a little bit more about my family, he pulls out a tome off of one of the shelves of many books, and it's titled The Stone Singer and Their Involvement in the Dragon's Moot. This has a little bit of a history of where I come from.
That sounds fascinating. I mean, you are of dwarvish descent, right?
Indeed, yes. Proud be the dwarves, mighty was their fall.
Well, this will be a fascinating read. I appreciate it.
Of course. All right, Downer, it's 8 o'clock. I need to get to bed.
Okay, old man. Get some rest.
All right. Don't stay up too long, all right?
I'll do what I want.
You're right.
Dad.
You're welcome. All right. Love you. Good night.
Beautiful reunion.
Love you.
Love you, Dad. Bye.
All right. So, unless there's anything that you would like to do within this time skip,
Nope, we're just taking care of our street, our
Sure.
community.
you got it. From here, we move on to Roscoe.
Yeah.
Roscoe, what have you been up to these 2 weeks, man?
I would have immediately left that meeting and gone to go get my dagger.
I forgot.
All right.
Just buried
All
in
the cursed
the
platinum.
dust.
Yeah, probably all of it, but
Okay. Give me an investigation check with advantage since you knew where all the things were being
it's
stored.
also hidden pretty poorly.
You did your best. That's
Okay, that's all right.
Several times.
Investigation. Okay, that's just gonna be a straight roll.
over and over.
13.
13. You find all of the cursed platinum and the flask and the dagger.
There you go.
Freaking tease.
You're brutal with those pauses.
I attached to my belt. I'm like, come at me, man.
Yeah, you find it all. The warehouse is sufficiently burned down and smells awful. It smells horrible. In fact, as you've been approaching, there were a few members of the Justice of the Peace there, but there were also a few members of Eldritch Knights with them. And approaching some of the Justice of the Peace, you've actually recognized. One of them was a guy that you had elbowed in the face coming back into the city. And he like looks at you all mean and stuff and kind of like turns towards you. And one of the Eldritch Knights sees this and just kind of like pushes him on the pauldron. And he gets back into the warehouse. Left to your own devices.
Yeah, he got swagger.
I got my dagger.
What?
It's that dagger swagger.
Oh, you can't.
What is happening?
So absurd.
I blame the government.
Okay.
I saw him in here.
Just
earlier.
need
Blame
to
the Justice.
not use my elbows for this. Okay.
So then, get my stuff.
I don't know if I had mentioned this, but that dagger, because of the twin helix and how well it was made, that dagger is a 2d4 dagger.
Do remember something about that, but I'm writing it.
Double damage, stabby boy.
Nice.
You know, also tainted with, black dragon magic, so.
Yeah.
So, what else you got going on, Roscoe?
So first, I want to get deep into the seedy underbelly of this society. I'm trying to flesh out chromatic spiral, people, trying to work my way up and get more about that. And best way to do that would be an underground fight club.
An underground fight club. You said?
Literally underground, yeah.
Okay.
I want to go over to Elgot's place and
Okay.
see if I can strike some sort of deal with him so I can utilize his basement at night.
Okay. A stone pillar had been toppled over and essentially is wedged in the center of the dragon's den. With, you can hear the birds chirping from the opening in the ceiling. But as you approach, there are some people in there definitely drinking, hanging out. Like nothing has changed for these people very much. And approaching the counter, you do see Elgot. There are some scratches on his shoulders and stuff, and he's actually sitting at the counter having a drink himself. And as you approach, he goes, "Oh, dirty man!
Elgot, man, sling me up a drink there. Sir.
Oh, okay. What are you drinking?
Oh, what do you got?
I got ale.
Bet you do. Give me an ale with the liquor chaser there.
I do this. This is okay." And he gets up, goes around the counter, pours them, puts them back on the counter, and then comes back to sit next to you. Cheers, friend.
Cheers.
Pink. Look.
Oh yeah, I'll have another.
I'll get another in a minute. I just sat down.
Oh no, that's me. Looks like you got a lot of work that needs done around this place.
Yeah, Dragon's Den need work.
Yeah,
That sucks.
I got some extra time on my hands, and I was
Oh.
thinking maybe I could help you out if you could help me out.
Oh, like partnership. You starting a
some-
brewery?
Oh yeah, I mean like a portable one.
Oh, I like your do-si-do.
Thank you.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What up, partnershiping?
Well, I need access, to your basement.
Basement.
Yeah, you got basement, right?
Yeah, I got basement.
Yeah, so like,
Only 2 rats.
oh, that's not bad. Did you name them?
No,
Oh, okay.
I tried to kill them, but they'd fast.
Well, if I could have access to your basement unrestricted at night, I'd help you fix up your place.
What needing in basement? I store ale there.
Oh yeah, just a clubhouse, just a meeting spot,
I'm not sure if this is persuasion or deception, so I'll allow you to pick.
He's not lying.
I know.
It's the same, and I'm not
omitting
lying, so it doesn't
information,
matter to me.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
15.
Using basement and what was trade again? You help build.
Oh, it was deception. My bad. I was looking at the wrong one. That's fine.
That's okay. You helping build? What was trade?
Yeah, help you build, help you clean. I'll mop the floors. I'll help you brew. You know.
That's sounding nice. I like this. I do that.
All right, but only half a day of work. Every day.
Every day, half day?
Yeah.
7 days a week?
I mean, we got to get drunk on what? What's your day off?
Wednesday.
All right, so not Wednesday. I'll drink with you though.
Okay, that's sounding good.
All right, so 6 half days a week.
6 half days a week, you helping and you doing things in basement?
Yeah.
What things in basement?
Yeah, training. You know,
Training for what?
the dangers of the world.
This making sense to me. Okay. Here's extra key for you.
Oh, thanks.
Basement, cellar, door, and back. There is way to get down from here, but is in my office.
Okay.
Don't use that, please.
No. That's your spot.
Yep, this is my place.
Yeah, that's all for you, man. I don't need that.
Okay. Well, new partnership. I get
One
a drink.
extra thing.
Oh,
Can we drink for free on the job?
no drinking for free on the job. I'll get you free drink now, as celebrate new partner.
All right.
Okay. Here he goes and he pours a drink and hands you another drink and says, 2 new partners with little drunk man.
Yeah.
What is your name?
I'm Roscoe.
Oh, I'm Ilgot.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Ilgot Rye.
Wheat's usually my favorite, but
Wheat is good. Hard to find nowadays.
I get that.
Yeah. And you guys continue drinking for a while. You end up playing a couple games with him. You come to find that Ilgot loves playing games. And basically wagering money back and forth. It pretty much turns into a wash with you coming up like 3 or 4 silver. But you have a great night with him.
Nice.
What are you doing with said underground facility? Because he goes and he goes to his office. He says, "Night, night, little man. If you see rats in basement, tell them to go away."
All right, I got you.
Thank you. And he closes the door behind him. You hear like a locking sound.
So now I need to find club members, so I'm gonna go amble the alleys at night.
Okay. Over the course of a few days, you find
Real shady characters, people that want to
Fight.
Or
you find roughly 14 people interested in what you got going.
Is one of them missing a jacket?
Actually, yes, one of them is missing a jacket, and he does not seem to recognize you. It's the orc man that was hanging outside of the dragon's den. He's very, very large, sober. He's an imposing figure, like just cuts and scars all over his body. He tells you his name is Gronak.
Write that one down.
Yeah, it's club members. Okay,
Yeah, I'll write down the important characters.
First note of the campaign.
Shamara and blah blah.
Yeah, there's-
Gronak.
no, I know who my friends are.
So, with said 14 people in tow, you guys head to the basement, and what is happening in the basement?
Mainly, like you would think, it's straight up bare knuckle fight club.
Are bets being wagered?
Oh, for sure.
100%.
But everyone that's there must fight.
Oh.
There's no stragglers on the side, just betting. But while that's going on, I am trying to get information about chromatic spiral, gang activities, stuff like that from
Okay.
these people.
1 second.
Without I'm pounding their bodies, faces.
Over the course of the 2 weeks running said fight club, you accrue roughly 44 silver for yourself.
Nice.
Additionally, Additionally, you said that you're inquiring about individuals within the chromatic spiral, right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Oh,
Or deception
I
question?
guess we're leveled up now.
Yep.
All right. So 13. I actually I'm gonna use a lucky.
You're gonna use a lucky. Okay.
I know it's over the 2 weeks, so like technically I get 3 luckies per long rest. So like I also don't want to overdo it.
we're gonna take some old AD&D rules and just say you're gonna take 20, which is a natural 20. We're not gonna do this for everything. I'm basically just kind of expediting this circumstance.
For time's sake.
Yeah, at one of those points.
Yeah.
Yes.
With
There
all
was a
the
good
luckies.
night. There were some bad nights, some okay nights. There was a good night.
And in fact, it was your friend Gronak. Gronak basically had shoveled up some fists that night and went undefeated, even against you. I'd imagine that in between fights and stuff, asking Gronak like some questions along the lines of what you've been looking for, you could tell that he had something on his mind. So maybe even Roscoe took the fall in that fight.
Took the fall.
Took the fall. Took the fall. And staying back in the basement with you, it's now probably about like 4 or 5 a.m. He's still drinking. He's had the habit of just opening up barrels and just drinking from them,
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't need free drinks. I'm in the basement.
which we will address later. But eventually, Gronak goes, you begin that line of questioning up again, and Gronak goes, I've seen some shady people. Yeah, I see shady people all the time. What are you asking about?
You know, like ones that, really love spirals or, worship dragons or, have weird names like Orzomi, Orzi, or Orzlov.
And as you're doing that, you kind of like give him a cursory glance, and he looks like slightly panicked. He's like, I kind of know, a little bit. I know they tried to recruit me at one point. I said, no, I only drink. But,
No, I only drink.
they continued that with, you can use money to buy drink. And I say, no, it's okay, I have friends. But, they had told me if I had changed my mind of recruiting, that the best place to find them would be in the caverns below the city. I say, how do I get to the caverns? And they say, well, easy way is going down to the base of city and finding caves that lead up. But they said hard way, but quickest way is into the river channels. They say that some of the river channels, if you can navigate, then you can find caverns that lead out of river channel.
Man, that's very helpful. Also, great fighting tonight, man. That left hook I was not expecting.
Nobody ever expect left hook.
Yeah.
Everybody right-handed in this world. Left hand is where it's at.
So I mean, I think this is yours. You won this for tonight, and I had him 12 silver.
He takes it, and he's like, that's a lot of drink. Puts it in his pocket. Thanks, Roscoe.
Thank you, man.
Okay, same time tomorrow?
See you tomorrow night.
Yeah! He takes another, mug full of beer out of the barrel, downs it in one, takes another mug, and then walks out with it.
Terrible employee.
I mean, not an employee?
Partner.
What else you got going on during this time?
So during the half days, I'm not working.
Okay.
I want to apprentice with an alchemist. I want to learn how to brew potions.
Okay. I'd imagine your best place to start would probably be the college visit. More specifically, since you have a friend named Salvo, whom, as you do eventually find her just completely covered in sweat, shirt drenched, just banging away at this bluish teal metal, she would have told you that her friend Sukra is a transmutation and an alchemist specialist.
Call back to episode 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to
She'll be your best bet to make
find this
advances.
person.
Okay.
Right that way.
Kind of going through the motions of locating her laboratory and facility, you do eventually find her. She's got like this mint greenish hair that comes down in curls, just long droopy ears and kind of like a up-pinched face. You would recognize this as being a furbolg creature. Most of the time furbolgs live out in nature and in the woods, some of them being humanoid in a world like this tend to stick towards the bastion cities. And upon entering, she kind of pushes her glasses up to her face and says, "Yeah, do you have an appointment? I'm sorry."
Yes, yeah, I'm your 11:30.
11:30. It's 2 p.m.
I really need to watch then. I'm sorry, I must have missed my appointment then.
What was your name?
Roscoe.
Roscoe. She pulls out a ledger and like starts
Probably under Signora Took.
I don't have a senior toque on. I have a few moments. What do you need?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking to learn about potions.
Potion making. Well, I certainly could help you with that. Have you registered with the college?
Yeah, I just turned in a couple weeks ago, haven't heard anything, so I decided to come and see what was going on.
Give me a deception check.
Just really wanted to follow through with his application.
22?
22?
Yeah.
I
Got it
see.
right here.
I see that they're falling behind on the paperwork with the front desk again. Quite all right. I do have a few moments. I can give you a few rudimentary lessons. Do you have a kit? Your own personal?
I've got a brewer's kit.
Oh.
I can change some stuff up. I mean, I can make other stuff that I drink. It's gotta be kind of similar.
We'll just put this on your tuition tab, and you can borrow one of my
That
starter
makes sense.
kits.
They set one of those up for me when I registered.
As they should have. Okay, well, let's begin. I'm going to give you the general understanding of alchemical properties, states of solid, gas, and liquid, reactionary chemicals, the periodic table, and whatnot. How much background do you have in alchemy?
I make beer and liquor.
You know, that's not entirely untranslatable, but it's a start. And she begins teaching you over the course of a few weeks alchemical properties and how to use them. You can add a alchemy kit to your inventory. This amount of time is not enough to become proficient with it. So if in the future you try to do something alchemical, you may roll using your kit, but you do not yet have proficiency.
Perfectly fine.
And at the end of it, you actually are quite astute at learning this. I am very pleased to have a new apprentice.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'll keep it going.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned at one point that Salvo was an acquaintance of yours. Tell her I wish her well, and it's glad to hear that she's back in the city.
Yeah, I will. I'll pass that on.
Thank you.
Immediately forgot.
In one large ear, out one slightly smaller ear.
What's her name?
Sucra.
Hey, okay.
It's got a box.
Nice.
Teach me something I want? Perfect. Name remembered.
Okay. What else has Roscoe got going on during this 2 weeks?
The only last thing I would do would be during times of rest and/or instead of sleeping, depending on how it works, meditation.
Okay. There could have been a couple of times where that you might have gone a restless night. I mean, you're up till 5 o'clock in the morning doing the Fight Club thing, and then you get up real early for your lessons with Sukra. You do almost run yourself ragged, but a couple of the times outside of actual sleep, you do take the time to meditate and go into a strange trance.
On Wednesdays.
On Wednesday, yeah.
Day off.
That's when you drink.
The drinking's part of my meditation.
I need you, Roscoe, in your meditative state, to give me a religion check, please.
Change gears here. Get out. Go away. That's a nat 1. Rolling again. That's a 15.
Okay. So the 15, a couple of nights go by, a couple of Wednesdays go by, literally 2 of them, and for a while it's hard to find yourself back into that trance-like state that you had last experienced in the Grand Spire. But nearing the end of these 2 weeks, in your meditative trance, you hear ocean waves. And you feel this strange warm sensation in your solar plexus, and you open your eyes and you are sitting back in that stone slab circle surrounded by jungle trees with a large twisted statue placed in the middle, written all over it in Draconic names and titles, and what you actually have come to see, this is relative. One of the names that you see is Smargard the Dreamer. One of the other names that you see is Salak Milsfia, the Sun Eater. And you kind of put 2 and 2 in your mind. These are names of either once existing dragons or currently existing dragons. And as you curiously ponder this, you hear rumbling beneath your feet. Roscoe.
Yeah.
I see that you are well, my friend.
I'm trying. I'm still going. The path is hard to find.
That is because in the ebbs of flows of time throughout all planes of existence, there is no clear path to any destination.
Well, that makes me feel better.
You kind of feel another rumbling that you can only construe as like a giggle. What is it that you seek, young friend?
Seek balance. The way I've been living, man, it's pretty fun and wild, but it's gotten me, and more importantly, the only few people that have been close to me before in trouble. My last crew, I don't even know what happened to the captain.
Was this the ship captained by Amber Eye?
Yeah. That night when the ship got destroyed, it was the last time I'd seen any of them. If it wasn't for him, who knows at what point I would be at now. I thought I had more time. Without your help, I would probably suffer the same fate I believe they all had.
You kind of feel it shifting, and it's almost as if you see the sea level through the trees like lowering. Some water begins to drag around and around. As far as I have perceived, you are the only survivor of that shipwreck. I am sorry to say, we all think we have more time, even creatures as ancient as I.
That's unfortunate. What worries me now is I'm with a new crew. And I don't want that to happen again.
Part of balance, young halfling, is accepting finality, mortality. You must accept that one day all will die. And speaking from the tone of balance, as the island keeps shrinking and shrieking, water keeps swirling up higher and higher towards this stone slab that you stand upon. It is not up to us to decide when death occurs, especially for our loved ones. But what is most important is how you show and share that love with those you care for. That, my friend, is where true balance lies.
So I can balance my chaos with love.
As you say that, kind of like in a dream, there's a fog that begins to encroach on your periphery, and as the rest of this island continues to sink and you feel water on your feet, you gasp awake.
Fuck!
You wet the bed. That was the water on your feet.
No, but he goes and takes a drink and
Wet his whistle.
wets his whistle. Anything else for Roscoe during this time?
No.
All right.
I'd probably see Jack now and then to bandage my hands after every night, but
Yeah. You see
What do you
Jack's
keep
pretty
doing?
busy. He's been granted a small retinue of medicinal folk from Amara. There's a couple of times when you actually go to his clinic and he's not there. There are other people in there running it. But basically had been said, like, he's out in the field, he'll be back soon.
that's fine. It's just a side thing.
Yeah, and there are a couple times that you do catch him and share a couple of words. But from here, it is Leon's turn. What are you doing in these 2 weeks?
So, I guess after that main conversation, when I told Xeris that we needed to talk, I could be the same night or whenever, but I'll start with that.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, Xeris, did you know I was once fully human?
No.
He just lays it on so thick.
So direct.
No, I did not.
My powers, they were given to me by Smargard, my master, my lord. He was an emerald gemstone dragon that protected our mining town.
Interesting.
And gemstone dragons, they have the power to imbue power to people who they deem worthy or champions. They have to be alive to do it, but they have the power to do so. And this is why I tell you this is my destiny. I have visions, and I speak with Smargard.
Even still?
He's no longer living, but he is inside me. And I know that it is our destiny to gain more powers from gemstones to help balance what is going on. And you know when you were at the warehouse with everyone?
Yes.
Well, me and Paula finally talked, and I let her know everything. And she didn't give me much, but she mentioned there were other gemstone dragons similar to Smargard still out there. And then it clicked that those dragons are probably in danger and they have the power to give us. This is the destiny. We need to form our team, and so I am asking you to help me find these gemstone dragons so every one of us can be imbued with the power to restore civilization back to normal.
Wow. So I express definitely a great amount of intrigue on this and ask you a couple remedial questions about the matter. But aside from that, I definitely would ask, so you want us to find the gemstone dragons so that we may absorb them to some effect?
We need to find them while they're still alive. But so that they can, if they choose, give us power to help balance the world.
Now,
And I'm not good with searching in libraries. You're one of the smartest people I know, so...
well, thank you. I don't know a lot, but I try to learn. So, why did Smargard bestow his power to you?
He was on his deathbed and the Big Blue killed him, and he saw the rage in my eyes, and I feel that he felt bad, like he betrayed me because of and then I go into my wife and my daughter being killed and all that. And
Just glaze over that.
well,
I got
I told Lane about that. So
Salvo.
Yes, I told Salvo about that. And I say that I still am a good disciple and
I believe that to
believer
be true. And I definitely sympathize with you.
And so then I was like, I know we won't find it right away, but I just wanted to tell you my vision and why I feel the way that I feel.
I definitely would say that I feel compelled to assist in this quest, but I will say that I'm a little apprehensive, concerned about the objective of taking their power. Now, of course, if it's willing, I just don't understand why they would be willing to. Now, granted, my knowledge of gemstone dragons spans all of 2 days, but
Gemstone dragons are being murdered in front of us. Metallic dragons are being murdered in front of us.
so are we helping that cause by doing so?
We need to defeat the chromatics, and the gemstones, they don't always get their hands dirty, but they have the power to help us, and I feel that it's my duty.
Well, I do think it is important to track down the gemstone dragons and, if nothing more, ensure their safety.
Thank you. I put my hand a snap.
Shakes
My
me.
shoulder. I was like, if you ever want to work out, hit me up.
I probably could use it. My stick-like body and -2 strength modifier.
And so then I individually go to each person. I see Thalner at his shop, have a tea, and then kind of go into more detail. I try, basically, now that I'm cemented in this group, share my story with each one individually, kind of like a copy and paste of that, but without, I ask Salvo if there's anything that you think Grand Mason Malachi knows about locations. I would appreciate it if you brought it up to him with Brian. I say, Amara, if there's anything you think that Amara withheld from us during that initial conversation, I seek your help. I ask Clint just
Roscoe.
ask Roscoe if just I tell him everything and to keep his ears open.
You're literally telling him and talking to him while there's a circle pit of people just fighting each other.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
I was gonna say he was there, so he had to fight.
I had to fight. Yeah, absolutely.
I was wondering. I actually accompanied him there.
Oh no!
Oh, my man, cheers. You know the rules, right?
Rules. I was coming to say hi to my dear friend Roscoe.
Oh, well, tonight I am the Circle Master, and
Circle.
yeah,
Okay. You're playing games?
Keep going on.
it is a game.
Okay. How do we play?
You sucker punch Xeris.
I will
He's in a
gladly roll
circle.
a dex save for that if we're cool for it.
Rear naked choke.
Fight!
Rear naked choke.
We don't have to roll a
Like,
fight.
No, you guys don't have to roll a fight.
Serious
So basically, Xeris, what happens is like you get knocked in the face. Leon, right behind you, like in a mosh pit, scoops you up and goes, "It's time," and you get thrown into the pit with Roscoe. You guys are in a fight. Roscoe does take care of you. Like in this is like the day or two after that he had that meditative sequence, and you can tell that he is punching you and like doing some damage, but you've seen him in combat. You see that he's actually just trying to more or less give you a physical lesson in this situation and not trying to actually destroy you.
Spicy sparring.
Yes,
You gotta learn how to
spicy
throw a punch
sparring.
and take a punch.
And it is really rough for you, but you, Xeris, find so educational from this that I will say you can increase your strength score by 1 point.
Yes.
Nice.
That puts me at -1 now.
Who else wants to get punched in the face?
Did you have a 7?
I had a 7. I had a 7.
This is more or less like you only feel this increase in point in the awful lactic acid soreness and bruise of the events 4 or 5 days after.
The fight high.
What's that?
The fight high.
The fight high? Yes, that's exactly right. Yep.
the thrill of the fight.
Does this
Thrill of the
stay?
fight. It's permanent. It's permanent. I mean, he went from a -2 to a -1.
When you start at the bottom, you make progress really fast.
That 7 to 8 jump's a lot easier than the 19 to 22.
Out
Exactly.
over the 2 weeks.
So
he got some
there's a
gym
little
time
bit of
in.
muscle tone.
More
It's
like
tiny, super skinny. Like
You look less emaciated.
yes. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like a tiny bit.
There you go.
Starting to look
stinks.
normal.
Upgraded from emaciated to scrawny.
Yes.
And you did so good in
Scrappy,
that
if you
fight.
will. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry it had to be me, but I'm glad you didn't have to fight any of these other guys.
And you see Gronak over in the corner like, who's next?
His fist,
He won.
Gronak's fist is the size of your waist.
It's yeah, that's not inaccurate actually.
I did you a favor by fighting you myself. Thank you, Roscoe.
What a boon.
I'll remember that. You're a valuable lesson. Thank you.
Remember that.
Throat punch.
Labored breathing.
So not to get too completely distracted, Leon, we're still finalizing your
That was
2
Leon's
weeks.
day.
Oh, no. I forgot we were actually on your day. I got all excited about
No,
punching you in
this
the
was
face.
not my
Sorry.
day.
Leon watched it all happen though.
Oh yeah, I was involved in one of the fights. But so besides telling everyone my story individually, asking for assistance, kind of letting them know where my head's at. So 2 things I would like to, I guess, roll for, or something.
What's going on, buddy?
I would like to roll research in like a library.
Like an investigation,
Maybe
like-
Xeris helped find me certain books, and then I physically sat and.
Okay, so for starters, what specifically are you looking to research? I know that you're trying to understand more about gemstone dragons.
The history of, like, actually proper names of gemstone dragons, so specific gemstone dragons and their locations and whereabouts.
Okay. This is going to be a very high DC
Would you want me to do the investigation part of this?
of searching for the book. Still a high DC,
Sure.
but go for it. Yeah.
Thanks. And do you consider this help at all or no?
Yeah. I mean, the two of you are working together. You can roll at advantage with having being helped by Leon looking for said book.
22.
Okay. With a 22, you do find a few tomes that more or less discuss draconic anatomy, mating and territorial habits. Nope, not going there. And essentially more or less like the different types and how they work. The only tome that you find that has any information about a gemstone dragon, very old and dusty. This one is talking about a supposed creator of gemstone dragons named Sarador. Sarador was the one and only of his kind, a ruby gemstone dragon. Supposedly, Sarador was a godlike deity, and you find this information basically within a book talking about Draconic Pantheon. You do find a little bit about information about Tiamat Takesis. You find a little bit about one that's completely new to you, Bahamut, supposedly a platinum dragon, the lord of all metallics, and you find the one about Sarador. Now, the only information about Sarador in there is limited because this is supposing to have happened several millennia ago. Supposedly, to backtrack myself a little bit, supposedly within this book, it is said that the three dragons, Tiamat, Bahamut, and Sarador, created the entire known universe. And supposedly, they held the balance of life within all planes together, the three. And also within this book, the final thing that you see about gemstone dragons, specifically Sarador, Tiamat vied for power, betrayed their coven, and shattered the gemstone dragon Sarador, which led to a catastrophic universal-wide war between the remaining two gods, Tiamat and Bahamut. Leon essentially in this time is like right next to you, like bench stool pulled up while you're flipping through the book and kind of describing what
Reading
you're
out loud to him like a bedtime story. He's tucked in with the little tea in the shop.
And that is the only information that you find about gemstone dragons specifically, and it is more of like an overarching mystic lore.
I'll take it. That's awesome. And then the final thing I would want to do is probably look to purchase either a ring or most likely a ring of something.
So you can be more specific. I think you had told me you're looking for a ring of protection.
I was looking for a ring of protection, yeah, but I think it might be a little out of my price range. So do you have anything that's in the range of 1,000 to 2,000 gold?
So I'd assume,
Right.
I would assume that you would ask more of your friends about where you could find magical trinkets and baubles and things. This takes you to the Stone Golem Bazaar. Are you going alone? Or are you going with people?
If anyone was available at the time, they could come with me, but I would probably go alone.
Okay. Just for expediency's sake, in like a 2-week period, if anyone wants to visit a magical item shop to potentially buy things, now's the time to jump in with Leon.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that's a good idea.
Okay. So Roscoe's going with Leon?
Sweet. On a Wednesday.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe on Wednesday.
Yeah, you try to go on a Tuesday. Roscoe says not today, and then you guys re-meet up on a Wednesday.
We all like take time, try to schedule the right day out of the week.
Yeah, and you're like, I'll be there tomorrow, and then you don't show up, and the dungeon master's sad.
Yeah.
That's when you all play People and Places.
Yes.
Wednesday night at 8 p.m.
Okay. Who else is going to the Stone Golem Bazaar? Salvo, I don't imagine you have a lot of time.
I cannot.
Yes.
I am way too busy.
JJ's too busy with triage.
If anyone wants to see me, you can come see me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't do anything.
She said, come see me.
Yeah.
Are you going, Fauner? Okay. So, we've got... Wow, what a weird group of our friends here. We've got Roscoe, Leon, and Xeris all going to the magic item shop.
Thank God you have a magic item person.
Great group. I'll tell you what you're buying.
So, as a...
What are you buying?
What are you selling? As a brief bit of description, nearby to the centralized bridge that you guys had opted to take the storm drain rather than walk over, you see the Stone Golem Bazaar. However, one of its 3 massive stone legs has been completely melted and leans over to one side and appears to not have moved since that event. It's really trepidous walking as you climb up into the Stone Golem Bazaar. There are some people about. This place is a bazaar for a reason. There are people peddling strange wicker baskets and trinkets and baubles, different types of cutlery sets. Some of them made out of like jade, and some of them made out of like a warped, twisted metal. But there is a purplish tint at the top of it that you eventually make your way into. Upon entering, the inside of it is completely different from the outside. You would imagine that the diameter of this purplish hanged, almost like circus tent, was about 20 foot. But entering, it is a massive emporium with rows of shelves, several racks with hanging items, pedestals and dais with crowns and jewelry and goggles, all alike. And as you enter, you hear a fluttering sound as a owlin woman, white in feather, with large lamp-like yellow eyes, a couple of piercings of jewelry in her beak, wearing kind of a tied, braided scarf around her head, fluttering down in her robes. Welcome, welcome. I see we have some adventurers here. With coin to spend, I hope.
Unless I disperse it out, I got a lot of coin.
That's entirely your prerogative, my friend. You're the one that found the items.
Yeah, I don't know.
I take out my sack and dump 993 gold onto the table, and I say, I'm looking for a ring or cloak of protection.
Oh, a straight shooting customer. You see like the feathers on her fingers kind of like warble together. Ah, lovely. I have several. Would you prefer a cloak or ring?
Can I try them out? Do you have a mirror? Or a mirror?
Magical or regular, dear?
Regular's fine.
Okay, yes, I have several trying on mirrors. You'll find them back towards the wardrobe section of the Emporium. So, with that much coin, you certainly could buy either a ring or a cloak. It would be a little bit more expensive. We're trying to do some repairs to the stone golem itself.
It's fine. Take it all as long as I like what I get. You can have the rest as a tip.
Certainly, I'll take all of that. We'll get you one of those, and I'll even throw in a potion.
Sounds good.
A potion of health, if that pleases you.
I'm looking at Xeris. I have like a cloak that's really short on me, and I'm like, how do I look? I'm like, flexing with the cloak
I'm
on.
still like mind blown over this tipping thing. Like, I'm just like,
why did you tip all of your money?
don't. I wasn't going to, Roscoe. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
It looks great. Like maybe 550 gold worth.
Great.
Well, he had already made his donation to the reparation of the Stone Golem Bazaar, but typically a ring of protection or a cloak of protection does run about 500 gold, yes.
Make
Must
sure
be a
you
really good potion.
make sure you help them out, give them a good deal, and you can keep the rest.
Certainly, of course. I would never do anything other than the best of service. My name is Madame Tulane, by the way. How do you do?
Well,
Grammatically correct? Lovely. What would you guys like to purchase? We've got many a things. Got many a bauble. I see you're a wizard. Would you perchance like some inks, oils, salves, or incense?
Incense, actually.
Plenty of that for you, dearie.
Some dried herbs.
Boxes and boxes. I've got Nog Champa. I've also got Bay Breeze. What kind of smell are you looking for?
Over that dog, man.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. How much Nog Champa incense are you purchasing?
A particular amount. One moment.
Oh man, that.
I'll take some of this charcoal and the incense, and yes, this
Certainly.
these herbs as well.
Yeah.
Let's do 30 gold worth.
30 gold. Done, did, and sold. And she kind of packages up in this nice box, and it's got a scrawled hand, like literally handwritten, Tulane's Curiosities.
And then I take out 30 gold from my gold pouch, and I look over at Roscoe. 30 gold. Okay.
Thank you, dearie.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay.
Kind of tucks it into one of her robes underneath
Trying
her
to
wing.
confirm I'm not supposed to tip here, I think.
You already got tipped enough.
And do you perhaps have a ring of spell storing?
Ooh, got a pricey mind and a pricey eye. Let me ask you this, my friend. Highs, middles, or lows?
Middles.
Oh, that's out of the box. This dice roll is going to determine if it works out in your favor or not. 34 is precisely the number you need for a middle roll. She takes you down past a few mannequins that are wearing sashes and belts and different types of robes and things. You see one that has almost the appearance of comets flitting about the stars on it. And she takes you to a rack, a glass case full of rings and things. You see one ring that is geared to fit 2 fingers. Like a pale yellowish gold with some writing scrawled upon the top of it that you actually see is written in Draconic. The scrawl basically says magic is power. As she as she takes you over, yes, a beautiful specimen. I've had this for a long time, but don't let that fool you. I've had it because it only belongs with the correct buyer, the one who believes the worth of this item. So, how about a paltry 12,000 gold?
Of what?
It is a very, very fair price for this ring, dear.
how many?
I don't even think I've got that much with all of our cursed
No, you do
platinum.
not. You're way off.
That is absurd.
Well, if that's not the price that you would like to have, then I will certainly save it for the next
Do
one.
you have a ring of spell storing that maybe is not 12,000 gold? Maybe one perhaps around the 500, 600 mark?
Indeed not. I have heard...
Purple. Preferably. No, I'm just kidding.
Definitely not in purple. I have heard tale of an amateur magic creationist living a few cities down towards the north. Supposedly his ring of spell storing is adequate, though not proper by any means. He's selling his, the last I heard, for 5,000 gold, but what I've also heard, it is less than half the capabilities of this pristine object here.
Note taken. Thank you.
You're welcome. What else should I procure for you?
Got any magical belts?
Many. Which kind would you like?
Strength.
Oh, of the giants, huh?
Yes.
Well, of what caliber? Unfortunately, I do not have a stone giant or a storm giant's belt. That is.
Yeah, I kind of doubt. This is a nice place, but legendary items seem a little much.
Oh, well, I do have a few. She kind of puts her beak up in the air.
Yes, they're priced so high you will hold on to them forever.
I won't hold on for them forever. The right buyer always comes by.
Which is why you still have them.
Yeah, precisely. The last storm giant belt I sold was merely 4 months ago.
Convenient. So, which ones do you have in stock?
I've got one of hill and one of fire.
The prices on those.
Let me check my ledger, she says. Over the table, I knew at some point Spencer would ask for a ring of spell storing, so I had already looked that up.
I'm like, wow, you described it perfectly.
All right, that's the hill. And that is the fire. So for the hill giant, we're looking at, again, another paltry 12,000 gold. And for the fire giant, it's 16,000 gold, dear.
God.
Do you have the updated price book there? Because, for the saviors of the city, that seems a little steep.
She kind of lowers her bifocals.
I kind of stand up on my tiptoes at the same time.
Saviors of the city, dear.
It's a nice ring.
Yeah.
Last I heard, some mysterious dragons were the ones who saved the
How do
city.
you know that's not us?
Prove it.
It's unsafe.
It's unsafe.
I'll knock everything off your tables.
Oh, okay. Well, show me some draconic powers then. What? As valid as an argument that is, you may as well be a mage. I don't believe you. I need to see some scale, tooth, and claw.
I rage.
Thank you for your patronage. Please leave my shop. I feel unsafe. Okay, he's leaving. Good. Back to business, dear. Saviors of the city, you say?
Do you lay away?
Actually, I do. Yes. However, I do need a down payment.
50%.
Well, it's 20%.
Oh.
Wait, who was that?
I'm not here.
Who said that?
Sorry.
20%.
But would you keep the belt, right?
Yeah.
Could I, by chance, try it on?
Absolutely not.
Just for a quick moment.
Nope, I've dealt with business like this before.
I
Nope.
swear, no funny business. You have my word.
He's
Do
really
I?
Yeah, he's not funny at all.
She takes out this banded bracelet
Sure,
With
exploding
some-
bracelet, no problem.
with some strange writing on it.
No, Deers, don't do it.
I shall place this on you,
Of course.
and if we have a problem,
I understand.
this will take care of that.
By the way.
And as it shrinks, it gets extremely tight around your wrist and just almost cuts off circulation to your hand.
Please tell me it goes on like a snap bracelet or a slap bracelet.
Sure. It just snaps around his wrist. From which she
That's awesome.
takes, and which one would you like to look at, the hill or the fire?
I'll try on the fire for size.
Certainly. See, she takes it, unclasps it, and wraps it around you, and it shrinks to your size. And you actually do see Xeris, though technically he would have to attune to it. For flavor, I like this. You see Xeris get friggin'
Fully
jacked,
yoked.
like bigger than Leon, whom has already exited.
Roscoe!
High five.
You take 2d8 damage. No, I'm just kidding.
I definitely do punch Roscoe. No, you just want one punch.
Okay, roll the hit.
As a friend.
Roll the hit.
And just one punch as a friend.
I would actually expect it.
Roscoe can have a little punch.
I
as a
don't know
treat.
what to add to that.
So your strength modifier for the fire giant's belt
Fire giant is 6.
should be a 26. Let me double check that.
They're odd, so it should be like 25.
25.
So it'll be a +8. Or
Let me just double check. Let me just double check real quick.
Or your
Fire.
Face.
Why is this not pulling it up? We're gonna say it's a +8. So what'd you roll?
14, so that's a 22.
Yeah, you get decked in the face real hard, bud. Like bad. It hurts.
Okay, I'll do it to the shoulder. I'll do it to the shoulder.
In the shoulder, you get hurt. There's like a slight crunching sound.
Oh,
Good one, man.
Yeah, you taught me well.
Anyways, I think I'll return this now.
Yes, thank you, dear, thank you. So now that you know it's real, it's worth the 16,000, I promise you. And she puts it back around the mannequin. Oh, by the way,
Gotta get us one of those.
let me see your wrist, dearie. Wrist. Yes.
Thank you.
Puts it back in her robe.
Yes, I would say that is worth the money. I'm considering that as an investment myself.
I never felt so much power in the palm of my hand.
Screw knowledge. Power is power.
Just need to learn how to make 12,000 gold, and that is my whole character.
16,000 for the fire.
16,000 gold.
that's only 1,600 platinum.
It's a good way to think about it.
Roscoe.
We have, right? How much platinum? do we have?
Way not even close.
Yeah, no.
We have like 100 platinum, not even.
Roscoe, what do you?
First platinum?
Yes, we have like 100, like 19 times 5 plus, yeah.
Yeah.
19 plus
Yeah,
5.
no,
Less, because we melted a bunch of it.
Well, some of it's a dagger and some of it's a flask, but
But
I
it's
think
worth more.
So I turn around and I leave and I knock a few things off the counter.
Rude! You shall not be welcome here. As you step out. Your friend is very rude.
The prices are rude. He can be.
My
that
prices are market adequate.
way. Curious. Do you have anything? You know, you're the shopkeep here. Anything that you think may be of interest to me for 500-600 gold?
500 or 600 gold. I still have a few rings and cloaks left, similar to what your friend had purchased. Yeah, let me go digging. Well, potions are well in stock here. I'll tell you this. I also have a fun little bag of tricks. It's a bag of beans. Sell it to you for 600 gold.
Magic beans, you said.
Magic beans. You are not welcome here.
He popped back up, heard beans from across the way.
Got a bag of beans. Let's see.
Can I make like an Arcana check on these beans or something? Like, am I being Scrooged here, or
are you being
Yeah, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
being boozled?
being boozled?
Jack's dad said the same thing.
Wow, we could really have a Jack and the Beanstalk moment. Jack's dead.
Oh no.
Okay, that's gonna be
yes.
a 10.
It seems magical. And she sees you kind of glancing over them. Be careful with them. Don't touch them. Don't take them out of the pouch. Supposedly, when you throw one on the ground, some catastrophic magical event happens. Well, sometimes it's pretty cool, but from what I've heard, it's interesting, at the least.
Chaos beans.
You know what? I know someone who would really want this.
The halfling?
I know someone who would really want this.
Is it the halfling?
I hate beans.
Beans, you said? No, I hate beans.
What kind of beans, though?
You know what? Now that I think about it, that halfling has all my money. I'll be right back, real quick.
Certainly.
2 seconds. Just got magic beans. I think you'd be interested.
Leon, you're like standing there.
I know
listening
that
to
they
them.
are magical. What they do, not entirely certain. She says throw them on the ground and something crazy happens.
You had me at beans.
Okay, it's 800 gold though.
Oh.
What a steal.
Okay, I'll go get them right away.
Cold.
He's like willing to put up with your bullshit. Just fucking dick him. I don't care. Anything for the beans. Here's a tip. What a steal.
So are you going back into biome?
Yeah.
Okay.
I buy the beans.
All right. It's 800 gold, and as she hands them over to you,
I thought it was 600.
or 600 gold, as she hands them over to you, you look inside. There are 2 beans inside.
Okay, and how much for a health potion?
It's a $300.
Health potions right now, well, in this economy and with everything that's happened in the city, and recently the Drake-Hand's army has kind of cleared me out. It'll run you about 75 gold per minor potion. I also have greater potions at the price of 500 gold apiece, and I do actually have one very well-made superior potion, and that one is at 2,200.
Yeah.
Okay, how many minor potions would you like? I see you're on a budget.
I'll take one.
Okay. She sells you
What potion did she give me?
you got a minor potion. Minor healing potion.
Can I, by chance... I was about to say. And I literally, like, do this math in my head, and I'm like, okay to say we can have another one on the house for my friend's generous offer?
Oh, his charitable donation to make sure that the Stone Golem Bazaar is up and running soon.
Yes.
No, that is actually for the reparation of the Stone Golem.
Okay.
But what I will say is that if you want, I can make sure I hold a certain number aside for the next visits.
Sure, put it on his...
No, not paid for. I hold them to make sure that you come and purchase them.
I'm sorry, what?
She'll always have some in stock for us.
Oh.
For you.
Okay. Thank you, bye.
Bye. He leaves. Roscoe, Leon, and Xeris, you guys reconvene outside of the Stone Golem Bazaar. I'd imagine you're giving Roscoe now.
Two potions.
2 potions?
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure to subtract the gold. I'd imagine that you give him the bag of beans here.
She just had one left. I'm kidding.
Cold.
If that happened, I'd be running back in that store.
So I give you the beans, and
2 beans.
yeah, it was just 2. But also it was only 600 gold, and so
The haggler.
Yeah, I got you a potion here as well. Minor potion of healing. Nice. And then there's an extra. It was 75 gold. Yeah, 125 gold back to you.
My man. And this is when you tip.
All right.
120 gold.
So real quick,
Sweet, thank you.
Spencer, I'm going to send you a link to this bag of beans, imagining that at some point in the future you will identify it. Don't share that information right now.
10-4.
Leon, we're still in the end of your experience.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, I mean, that was pretty much it, is chatting with all of them, staying with them, but really during the 2 weeks I was with Xeris a lot and
Studying,
and then did the fight club maybe 1 or 2 nights at Roscoe's, and that's about it. So.
Okay, gotcha. Anyone else got their... Wait, hold on. This is not an anyone else situation.
Nope.
Okay, after Leon is Salvo. Salvo, during your 2 weeks' time, what have you been up to, my friend?
3 things. 2 that are lots of info, very quick, and one that is not a lot of info, very long.
Okay.
First step, I would like to have my discussion with Malachi
Okay.
that he asked for.
Returning to his tower-like office, you could see that the College of Visit 100% was unscathed in all of this Mashilla. And essentially going into his office, Stack has actually been with him this entire time.
Yeah.
And
He's his dad now.
he's dad.
His real dad.
And you see that Stack's kind of just helping along some alchemical experiments, not dissimilar to when he kind of like went into that trance. And you politely like open the door, knock on the wall. He turns and goes, "So, oh, that was Ilgot. What am I doing?" Salvo! Come in. You come in and he essentially like kind of pulls up a high-topped stool next to his workbench where he has some mechanical apparatus just whirring about and taking notes. So he sets the notes down and please, have a seat.
Excellent, yes, absolutely.
So, you and I need to discuss your early return from Aether Rock.
Yes,
I understand that there are many things that you cannot divulge with me,
exactly.
as per the usual for scientific advancements. However, can you, at the very least, tell me about your quick return? I hope that it did not denote failure upon experiments.
It was not a failing on my end, to say the least. I thankfully was not there, but there was what I can disclose was there was an assault on Aether Rock. It seems to have been taken over. Many people died. I thankfully was on one of the transport ships away, but I did see it from a distance. Details are hazy and only from a few second-hand people, but I do believe it is under the control of dragons at this point.
What of Alistair?
I wish I knew. He was on the island when I was last there. I have not seen him since.
Was Aether Rock destroyed in this takeover? Or?
It was damaged, not unlike the assault here. In fact, there was a dragon fighting another dragon and another dragon.
At Aether Rock?
From what I could see, yes.
You see he gets a very worried look on his face. He doesn't regularly display too much emotion. It appears that there are a lot of movements happening within the world.
Go back to my old history notes.
I know relatively of your caliber of work and why you would have been expressly requested as a recruit within Aether Rock. I do also know that you were not only a mere recruit, but my brilliant pupil Salvo. I do know that you were the leader of a team.
Yes.
As far as what you were researching, as much as I am curious and would love to know, I shall not ask. However, I'd imagine it does have something to do as to why we all have lost our research facility.
Yes.
Okay.
As much as I can say, I will say that I can tell you.
Kind of leans over and starts pouring himself a little bit of tea out of a kettle and sips it.
I will say I did see 2 smaller, deep green dragons assaulting what seemed to be a large, gray, steely dragon.
Gray steely?
Yes, I now know that there may be metallic dragons fighting chromatic dragons. This could have been a steel dragon.
Steel. You see him kind of write something down, tear a page out of the notebook, and hop off the stool, setting down his teacup, walking over to some books along the wall, tracing his fingers over, and eventually snags one, pulls it out. You cursory read the cover. It's metallic alloys in their nature. Kind of pulls it open, flips a few pages, sticks that paper and closes it back shut, placing it back on the shelf. Research for later. With everything that has happened within the city, with what I have discovered deep underneath this mountain, and with this unfortunate tidings that you have shared with me now, I believe that we are at the fulcrum of a world-changing event. Salvo, if your laboratory is lost, If Aether Rock stands no more, I see it as we have two options. We must either take back Aether Rock to continue our research, or we continue our research here at the college.
I think it would be quite the uphill battle to take back Aether Rock at this time. However, I have no idea how my colleagues handled research in my absence. If they destroyed their evidence, maintained it, tried to save it, hid it. I have no idea how the clandestine research progress was at the state of the attack.
It's possible that your research was usurped.
Entirely possible. I would hope the other researchers knew to destroy the evidence. I don't know. I have yet to see anyone from my research team since.
And you likely won't. I think that this is a extremely precedented matter. I know not of what you are researching. I have ideas, albeit it's not something that I am here to pry for. I respect science and the course of research. But if a pair of chromatic dragons fighting a supposed steel one usurped Aether Rock to the point of taking it over, we very may well have a much more dire situation on our hands. I believe that in this circumstance, we need to come up with a plan to either procure said research from Aether Rock or find its antithesis. By that subtle look on your face, there is none. I'll ponder on this. Given the circumstances that your non-disclosure was with Aether Rock, and if Aether Rock has fallen, I bid you to consider to share that information. But take your time. I will start my own research on metallic alloys, the fact of a steel presence and what that means. And whatever it is you decide to do within the next few days, consider talking about it with me.
I will ponder on that. My main concern is any disclosure of the research risks its exposure to the chromatic dragons and their spiral.
Certainly. I would also posit they might already have it.
Yeah, there is that.
So,
I do not take my NDAs lightly. However, you make a good argument that should Aether Rock have fallen, who is my NDA with?
precisely. Additionally, it might be worthwhile to get ahead of the problem. So, I will further posit this. When and wherever we decide to either return to Aether Rock to reclaim it, or if you were to continue your research here, we have to move forward with the assumption that they might have your information. If they don't, then there might be gods out there in the universe after all. But if they do, it would be wise to begin anew in order to fight back.
I would need quite the asset pool, a group of very talented researchers, and an incredibly secure location, which the fact that it is untouched after that attack is promising, but I would be still apprehensive with how bad it was infiltrated.
I'll say this, Salvo. Compile a list of qualifications for researchers. I'll additionally do a personality check beyond all of them, make sure that they indeed are not participant in loose lips or nefarious deeds of betrayal that have recently occurred in the city. I will look, research, and make astute observations on whom might be trusted for a research team based on your recommendations of qualifications. And if I find such a team, I will get back to you.
I can do this.
Thank you. And for what it's worth, it's good to see you.
You as well, Grand Mason.
He nods, and you kind of hear a shattering sound as Stack goes, "Oh no, I dropped something. I'm sorry. Friends don't drop things."
I look at Stack and I go, "That's right, but that's okay, Stack."
I think it's about time that I make myself a less emotionally aware ally or apprentice helper, if it will. Would you like to take Stack with you?
Is his content safe?
I'd prefer that they stay with me, but given what we've just discussed, the events of the city, it seems that he's been safe with you.
Ha!
I'd like to go with my friends.
I would like to discuss this with my group before I take on the responsibility of Stack.
Logical. Have your discussion. He'll be here helping me in the meantime. Okay. What is next, Grand Mason? Oh, just go take a break. Stack, you've done a great job as of late.
I note that he's referring to him as Stack and not ST4K.
You kind of like give him a look as he says that, and he looks at you and he's like, "Shut up."
Is the Grand Mason Vidalcan as well?
What's that?
Is he Vidalcan as well?
Yes.
Oh damn, so he old.
Very old Vidalcan.
Like
Very old Vidalcan.
400 or 500 years old.
Yes.
Okay, dang. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, as you leave the shop, what are you doing with the rest of your 2 weeks here?
Okay. Basically, that afternoon, or evening, whatever, that day, I would like to identify all of those items.
Lovely. So, that was something that you had discussed with me.
Mm-hmm.
You may go ahead and share with your allies here, over the table,
Yep.
what you guys had found in the warehouse.
And I would absolutely disclose all of this with y'all.
Okay.
Maybe even do it in your presence if we all are staying at the same location. Where are we staying?
My tea shop.
Perfect. All right. Well, then at the tea shop over evening tea, we
Wednesday.
we identify the items.
Wednesday was a really busy off day for you.
Real quick, you guys take over that discussion. I'll be right back.
Sure. I will disclose this to everyone. Alrighty, guys. As you may have already
Tell them what they want.
discerned, we have 2 folding boats that
Yep.
we've used. Goggles of night
Okay.
allow a wearer to basically have 60-foot dark vision, or if you have dark vision, an additional 60 feet. Beads of force, very interesting item. They basically can encapsulate a person and cause damage, and contain them. When thrown, basically
Like the thing? Like bubble?
like that, but it's
But it hurts though.
yeah, it hurts when you throw it. It creates a force damage, a force field of it expanding. But anything caught by the damage, who fails, let me say, under the table or over the table, fails a save, they are trapped inside said bubble and have to. And they can force it and move it, but otherwise. And really interestingly enough, anything inside the bubble now weighs a pound to anything outside of the bubble,
Oh.
So you can just lift up the bubble.
and basically like take a
How
person.
many beads were there?
1d4 plus 4.
It was 3.
Oh. So there you go.
Interesting.
It's pretty sweet.
I guess some had been used. A cloak of the manta ray basically allows you to breathe underwater, and your swimming speed is fast. I believe it's 60 feet.
That's cool.
And then a ring of swimming, similar but not. It doesn't allow you. I don't think. Does ring of swimming allow you to breathe underwater? Can be determined later, but
No.
a ring of swimming. It does make you swim quickly though. And then, rather interestingly, a leather pouch that ended up being a bag of holding.
Ooh.
inside of which I turned inside out and found.
Oh, that's like there's stuff in there.
Yeah, I knowing that a bag of holding, you have to know what you're reaching in to grab it. I figured out a way to empty it, and I found 89 gold, 217 silver, 126 copper, 2 minor potions of healing, 1 greater potion of healing. I'll copy and paste this for everyone.
Gotcha.
50 foot of rope, 2 light crossbows, 1 heavy crossbow, 37 crossbow bolts, 2 grappling hooks, 11 days of rations, 3 chromatic spiral hoods, a brass ring with the symbol of the chromatic spiral. Now it gets interesting. A bag of gems, 1 sapphire, 1 topaz, 1 moonstone, 1 emerald, 1 amethyst, and 1 diamond, each worth about 100 gold, and each is cut into the shape of a dragon's heart.
Whoa.
I just got chills.
I cast Identify on them.
Oh no.
And casting Identify on them, you only surmount that there is a faint winking, like a candle flame, essence of evocation magic within them.
They're voodoo dolls.
Or
the power you seek.
Yeah, basically.
they're leftovers.
It's morphin' time.
The dragon heart. They are.
Yeah, so we will definitely ponder on those a little bit, but I notice there's one for each of us if we go that way, but there's 6 total, but I'll again post this, or actually, if you have that written somewhere else, it'd be easier.
In my, because I studied gemstones, would I have picked up that was all of the types of gemstone dragons?
The only one not represented here is a ruby, but yes.
Okay. I
And
definitely mentioned something.
last and certainly not least, a letter written in Draconic.
Another one.
The copy reads, in Draconic, "The Elder has left the city. You are free from his eyes to begin the plan to assault the Grand Spire. Send these birds to the Justice and the Illusionist the morning of the attack. Find the stolen Soul Stone. My sources say a halfling and an old man have the vessel."
Hey, we're famous, man.
Was that when we were on?
With aid from Sphere, the Sun's Eater, we will finally take the city. Signed, Orzhov, Spiral.
Wow.
There's a spiral symbol. And I do not find any paper birds, mind you. So those have been sent. So,
So wait, the elder has left the city.
yeah. You are free from his eyes to begin the plan to assault the Grand Spire.
Malachi? When he went, no, because then that doesn't line up
Why,
with
bro?
No, Silkrist.
Why, girl?
Why
Can
not?
I grab the emerald? what is it? Because he's a,
Freaking scry or whatever it's
Salvo?
called.
The which what?
what is the shape emerald cut dragon heart? Is
Yes.
What you're saying?
There's all of those stones are cut in the shape of dragon's hearts.
Can I grab that while everyone's talking and close my eyes and do a religion check with Smargard?
Roll it.
Not good. 7.
There's a gentle warmth in your hand holding the crystal, but no more.
Do you have inspiration?
I ask if I could take this gem and the goggles to the group.
I say we throw everything in the middle. I'll start outside. Just. I'm just kidding.
You don't want that.
Take one thing at a time.
For brevity and time, we can divide the items up.
Yeah, do that in your tip the scales chat.
and then we can announce it on the public channels, Canon Chat, or
There you
whatever.
go. There you go.
Join our Discord to find out what we got.
Yeah, exactly.
Or stay tuned.
Yeah, or if you see us use it eventually.
Maybe.
But yeah, because there's a lot of just the more common items. But as one might deduce from the collection of items, this was probably the boat assault bag. A lot of aquatic things, night vision goggles, crossbow bolts, things that contain things,
Mermaid
do
cloak.
damage. Yep.
Makes sense.
Cloak of the Manta Ray.
Oh.
But Actually, not too far off. Swimming and water breathing, which is pretty neat.
See Little Mermaid? What did you say?
I said mermaid clothes.
And then, of course, a lot of just utility items, and then money, and we'll do the math to divide that up. But yeah, so the note and those gems are of particular interest beyond just the, magic items and common items.
So, were we wrong about Wygroff?
You'll no
Beat the
say.
baddies?
No, but maybe because the only reason we were like, wow, he's bad guy is because there was a chromatic spiral drawn on the back of his note.
Sounds like maybe the classic. Something going on underneath the leader as well. Subgroups.
Either that or he was against the chromatic spiral and was indicating to someone who that letter was for what to keep an eye out for.
Or he's the elder they're talking about.
And I have an idea that I
That
proposed
doesn't
to
mean
the
that he's
team.
against them.
I just thought of that I'm going to do.
What was that?
That does create an interesting layer to the complications of what was going on in the chromatic spiral.
I certainly would be interested to see him. But Orzhov does seem to be a baddie. Now, I do propose a little bit of a trust exercise, if you will. I'm going to write up essentially, I'm going to write up a extensive NDA agreement I would like all of you to sign.
Man, I'm gonna just tell you off the bat, I don't do those, nor would I like.
No problem.
Well, see, it's an all or none type of deal. If everyone agrees to sign said document, you don't have to decide now. I will take some time to write up this document, but it will be an NDA between us that will essentially establish y'all as research assistants of mine, which is within my power.
Is y'all like a common word in
It's Vidalcan.
vernacular?
It's Vidalcan.
The Dalkins are all Texan.
Vidalcan. I'm Vidalcan, y'all.
Yalkin. That's why they can breathe underwater and swim fast. Tell you what.
Yep, 100%.
Oh no.
We're in Texas.
I think I'm liking these Vidalcan boats.
But yes, pending everyone's agreement, I
sign.
will be able.
Are you doing this so that you can tell us all the
Didn't
stuff
even
you
read
can't
it.
tell us?
I am having you sign these so that I can discuss sensitive information.
I don't know. I'm
with
gonna
you.
have to check with my lawyer. Hey, should I sign this?
I was about to say,
Yep. Pending review, yes.
All right.
I would want to review the document first.
If I don't know what it means, how am I gonna adhere to it?
I'll explain it in simpler
NDA.
terms.
I think I've had something similar like that before, but the doctor cleared it up.
Well, Salvo, if
We'll have two versions. The over 16 intelligence version and the 15 and below cliff notes.
I have a gem I can lend for assistance
Oh, right.
for those who are
There you
close.
go. They read it, they understand it, then you take away the gem, they're like, I think I
I don't
get it.
remember
Yeah.
exactly what I signed.
Yeah, but
My
we'll
brain goes all the way up to 11.
document to be drafted and presented to the group at a later date.
Okay, well, yes, we'll definitely.
I just
review
thought of that
when
as a
time-
concept and let's call it a legislative loophole to allow me to discuss sensitive information. After talking with Malachi, I may have to get creative with my adherence to my NDA.
You're weird.
Yes. Yes, I am, Roscoe. You are too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So what else did you get into?
Alrighty. Now, that was the wordy stuff. Now, I'm going to obtain...
Real quick. There was one more thing you told Malachi you would discuss with your group.
What? What'd I say?
Does anyone here remember?
Come on! Can we
Oh,
keep him?
right. Also, Malachi asked me to take Stack into our care. How do we
Yes.
feel about this? I would only want to do this again under a unanimous decision.
good to ask.
Yes, I had to
He's the
ask.
only one I like out of the lot. No offense.
But JJ,
Jack, I'd take offense to that.
I thought we had a very productive conversation.
Oh, I mean, y'all are great. Don't get me wrong, but
But do you think he likes productive conversations?
He also likes Old Trusty with magic bullets.
You see the similarity?
He's not here. He's not here with you, by the way. He's not here with you right now.
What about the dragon inside of him?
Oh, the orb of dragon kind. Yes, absolutely. That would come with him, is the other catch.
So, I love Stack, and I definitely want him around, but I have to ask, are we therefore putting him in harm's way? Is that what we want? We all love Stack, but...
We're all putting ourselves in harm's way. What do you think is a better life for Stack? One where he's safe in a room for eternity, or one where he can go out with us and adventure with his friends?
He seemed pretty fond of Malachi.
It depends on your interpretation of sentience and whether or not a stone golem with a assigned personality can achieve said sentience.
We can always ask Stack.
What does Malachi plan to do with him if we do not take him?
Use him as a research assistant, the way he was intended.
I love
seems like
Stack, but
his-
is he really a good research assistant?
I mean, you saw the way
competent.
he mixed up those potions.
Yeah.
He seemed very talented.
He's all thumbs.
I walk up to Salvo and give her a hug and I say, I would be happy to be your assistant.
Not 2
topics ago.
He does not cut it.
Salvo kind of like stiffens in the hug and it's like, thank you, Leon. You've always been a very accommodating individual.
And on the note of Stack, hey, that just seems like more dragons will be around us, which, you know how I feel about that.
Oh boy.
We're acutely aware. Alright, so I am inclined to agree if everyone else is on board.
I think we can handle the responsibility, and also, I don't know that I would trust him anywhere else.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to put him in harm's way, but is leaving him here putting him in harm's way?
Malachi's been arrested before.
The real question is, do we want to leave that thing inside him here with us? Regardless of as much as I'd love Stack to come with us, I do think that thing is better off with us.
Agreed. It's safest in our care, and in our care, safest inside Stack.
Malachi made a point to that end, basically saying, we kept him safe this long.
Which is better than he can say.
Ouch.
True?
Somewhere Malachi sneezes.
I mean, his skills are in other locations.
Exactly. So,
Does
We should take steps.
because Malachi, made Stack, does he have any way to, like, I don't know, supercharge him or give him some adventuring
Stack.
chair? They're like,
Super Stack.
yeah.
Agreed.
What is this,
Double
Big Hero
stack.
6?
Yeah, can we increase his height
Battle bots.
and add thrusters?
Saying like,
It'd be cool if we all could ride.
Would I know this? Would I know if this is possible?
Typically, stone golems, stone constructs, anything made for the purpose of assistance by magical means remain the size that they were
I figured as
created.
much. I don't believe that would be possible without removing the essence that is Stack.
oh yeah, never mind.
Here's the real question.
scratch that.
Did he level up last session as well?
You don't know that.
As well? That's the determining factor. I cast Identify on Stack.
I think we
It's
should.
not there.
We could all reconvene maybe sometime around when we have the NDA agreement to review and discuss that with Malachi as well, if you would prefer.
I mean, we're taking Stack.
Sign up a
Certainly, but
custody
the semantics
transfer.
of exactly how the custody
It all
transfer will work and whether or not we take
The
the orb with
Construct
him.
Protective Services.
My players,
Thank you
y'all.
for thank you for reminding me the
You're actually
That
going to
discussion.
legally adopt an NPC.
Yeah, if you could just sign here. In the we all 6 of us will be co-parents.
I wish
Roscoe gets stack on Wednesdays.
You just beat me to it.
I wish I didn't like Stack personally. This would be a lot easier. He is very lovable. Upsettingly lovable. He is our mascot.
Yep.
Deep name. Stack attack.
No, that's our special move.
Yeah, they throw a stack. Okay, so from here, we're gonna zip back into Salvo's end of the 2 weeks. You guys had essentially had this conversation of this potential NDA, had this conversation about potentially adopting Stack through CPS means, and then to finalize Salvo's 2 weeks. Go ahead and tell him what you were doing.
Third item, most time, least talking. I, through the College of Izzet, find a source for and pay for, out of my own money, enough mithril armor, or enough mithril nuggets. Nuggets?
Or
to craft, with help, mithril half plate. So I spend pretty much my 2 weeks working all day with multiple people on the forge. Myself primarily doing all of the main work and a few people assisting with basic shaping and formation.
which is what Roscoe had ran in on and saw at that time.
Forging.
Wet, glistening.
She was making
She pounded on that.
mithril half plate, which real quick over the table, mithril half plate is half plate, which will effectively raise Salvo's AC. Being made of mithril, it is half the weight of regular half plate, and no longer gives Salvo disadvantage on stealth checks.
Main reason. And leaving me with a whopping 16 gold.
What does that take your AC
spend all one
to?
place.
I did so much math for you.
Thank you.
Don't
Thank
go
you
to the
very
bazaar.
much. Yeah. This race, inherently went from my chainmail, or chain shirt rather, or scale mail. Sorry, I had scale mail, which was an AC of 14 base, now an AC 15 base, plus my bonuses from shield, and my infusion on my shield, raising my AC to 18.
Wow.
It's the goal. I don't like getting hit.
Yes, that is not
And
fun.
you don't like making noise.
More importantly, yes, that was the lightness factor. Was the I don't like the clankety
not
clank
for
around my
everyone.
quiet group. Now I'm at least reasonably competent with my stuff, and that's where I spend my rest of my 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Neat. All right, so from here, we have JJ and Xeris left with JJ up. What have you been doing in your 2 weeks, my friend?
In this 2 weeks, whenever you do see him, he's been frantically darting around the town with a little clipboard with a bunch of pieces of paper, going from house to house, checking up on him. Most of them are fine and stable, but that's just how he is. He just thinks that he's gonna wake up one day and one of these just out when he's not, if he's not checking up on him constantly. I have people with me, or they're at the.
You have assistants with you.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going around telling them to change out the bandages, and then telling them, keep that elevated.
Eat those
Drink
antibiotics.
Take 2 of these. Call me in the morning. And just constantly. And then later towards the evening, I am trying to, I guess, salvage. I don't know if 2 weeks is enough to necessarily rebuild Rax's shop, but maybe the beginning processes of it, and then mainly just spending time with him whenever I get a minute.
You stopped by there a couple times. The first time, I don't know if JJ would be emotionally sound enough for this, but he is retrieving the remains of his family.
Yeah.
That's the first time that you stopped by there.
Oh, yeah. I definitely would have, like, before the rounds even started, like,
Started with
done with set up a funeral and burial rites and all that stuff.
all of that happens, and during that time, as the dirt is being shoveled into the hole, Rax isn't looking at you. He's looking at the ground, watching it get filled up with the earth, and he says, Who? You, JJ, you know more than what you let on. You and your group had a lot happening.
Yeah.
Who were these people?
You know, boss, I wish I could tell you a real concrete answer. There's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of questionable people out there behind all this, but...
Is there anything you can tell me?
Only thing we have to go off of right now is Bellamy Orzhov has been a pain in our ass for as long as we know, and the chromatic spiral, but as far as we know, Orzhov isn't really the one calling the shots here. He's just a convenient avenue for the real masterminds.
You just see him like slowly nod. He kind of looks over, still not looking at you. He puts a hand on your forearm. Jack, I love you, man. You saved my father in that war in the swamp. You've been a great help to my family. And this time he looks up at you. This is where we part ways. I'm not returning to my shop. I've got nothing left for me there.
Where are you going?
You got things you gotta worry about. I got things I gotta worry about. But I'll be around. By the way, I'm keeping the 6-shooter.
By all means, you earned it.
You see that he tears up a little bit, and before like it wells up too much, he removes his hand, turns around, starts walking away, descending this hill of grass, and he turns back and says, "Take all the bullets you want, and stay alive out there." Keeps walking.
You too, bud. See you around someday. Hopefully.
So, moving forward from here, any adventure that you had to repair the shop, he's not around for. He doesn't stay around, and most of the shop had already been looted, but you know that the combination to the vault where he kept most of the ammunition, if you ever did want to grab that.
Okay. Yeah, I probably would have eventually. Over time.
Okay. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Racks of bolts.
Alright, sorry, buddy.
No, you're good.
What else you got going on in this 2 weeks' time?
Oh, man. My boy. Emotional damage.
You can tell passive insight being ridiculous.
Yeah.
When he left and he finally looked you in the eye, he seemed determined.
Just wish I could help him. But we all got our own shoes to fill. And then I guess I bury myself in my work. And then I don't do anything super of notice in these 2 weeks other than checking up on those people, helping out where I can. I guess I'll talk to you off screen about what I would do with his shop. And then towards the end of the week, I kind of look at my watch and notice the date, and it's probably around time for my usually monthly appointment, but not really in the right headspace to go necessarily, but I do think it's worth still checking up on him after everything that's happened. So yeah, I go visit Vivian.
Not too far off, kind of gently resting in between the College of the Izzet and the Grand Spire Citadel. You find a slew of office spaces kind of geometrically placed against each other, all with different signs and appeals. One is like a pale blue wash of paint with shutters and flowers in the window, and you walking up on the gravel dirt path, go to knock and hesitate for a moment. And before you actually do reach your hand out, the door opens. And inside of the door, kind of like with a dark bob cut of hair, very pale ears peeking out, pointed beneath it, and just bright green eyes and a pleasant smile. You see Vivian. Vivian Bismuth.
Oh,
Hey,
going.
good to see you. I was just about to step out for a stroll.
Oh, no, you're good. I mean, I was just coming to check up on the place. I mean, I figured appointments were canceled for everything that's going on. But
Granted, this is the perfect time to have appointments. I wasn't expecting to come. It's been a while, Jack.
yeah, it has been a while, but
Tell you what,
you know,
I'm off the clock. Why don't you take a walk with me?
sure. Why not?
I was just about to go get some groceries.
Okay, sure.
You guys begin walking. She comes out, like close the door. You hear a few rustling sounds, and then she comes out wearing like this very long, woolen, well-made cardigan. Steps out, locks up the door, and continues walking and says, "You know, you're gonna have to carry some groceries for me."
I guess. Isn't that breaking some sort of rule or I don't know, whatever. We'll
Like I
figure
said,
it out.
I'm off the clock.
Alright, fine.
All right. You guys start walking. It's a real crisp day. The mountain air is very clean and pure and smells wholesome. For the first time in the last few days, especially with all the triage and the rebuilding of the city, you see children running about having fun. And about halfway to the grocery store, one that you can tell that she's walking to, knowing the city, it's been mostly silence, and she says, "Again, just to make sure, were you coming to see me for session, or you were just checking up on me?"
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, I guess. Whatever excuse you want to use. I hadn't seen you since the event, so I didn't know if, I probably should have checked sooner, to be honest, but
We're mostly fine here.
yeah, this area wasn't as badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything okay?
I'm doing well.
Great. Cool. Well, Doc, I don't even know where to begin. I feel like there's something I gotta do, but don't know if I got the strength or the power to do it. You know, life has a funny way of dealing you a hand. And, you know, everything tells you need to fold them, but yeah.
You guys eventually turn into the grocery store, and she picks up a basket, and it's pretty bare. There's not a lot on the shelves right now. Mostly root-like produce and a few cuts of meat in chilled coolers, and she begins perusing around, and she hasn't said much. She's mostly just been listening to you, and she says, "What exactly has been stopping you from playing the hand that you've been dealt?"
Well, sometimes you just know the odds are stacked against you. It's not a winning hand. But there's just something telling you gotta play it. Chips are already stacked.
When you play a game, is it entirely the objective to win?
I mean, kinda.
She smiles as she's like palming a few squishy oranges in her hand and puts them in the basket. Sure, but why do games exist?
Have fun. Make money. Everything in between.
And what is it that you want out of this game? You feel like all the chips are stacked and the hand that you've been dealt is a losing one. She kind of stops in the aisle and turns around and looks at you. But what is it that you want?
I don't know, to be brutally honest. I just want to live the rest of my days down in that little alley and fixing up boo-boos and putting band-aids on cuts. Like, that's all I really wanted, but this hand lost me a lot in the past, but something's different this time.
She smiles and she says, I remember the first time that you came to my clinic. And she turns around, kind of walks astride with you as you guys approach the counter and says,
I don't.
I know you don't. That's kind of why I'm telling you. Remember, I'm off the clock.
Okay.
The first time that you came and saw me, there wasn't a lot of JJ in there. She finishes the transaction, hands over a few coins, doesn't really bring the subject back up until you are walking out of the grocery store, and she says, there is so much more you now than there ever has been. At least from when I've known you. It may feel like at times life deals you a bad hand and the odds are stacked against you and the game is rigged, as it were. And about this time you guys are getting pretty close to her home again. And she stops and turns and takes out one of those oranges and hands it to you. But that's just it. At times where we thought all was lost, we continued to live. And we made something of it. And we bore fruit from our decisions. Whatever it is you decide to do next, just remember, those are yours. You are here, alive, just as solid as this fruit in your hand. And even if it is a mistake, even if the game is stacked against you, you can be confident that you made those choices because that's what you wanted. And she kind of like looks up, sees some birds flying above the paling, and looks back over at you and says, well, I'm gonna make myself some lunch. You're welcome to join. As friends, off the clock. And that's about as much as I can say.
All right. I really gotta go check on the patients, but yeah, I'll think about it.
She smiles and politely nods and says, don't forget to take care of yourself too.
There's definitely bags under my eyes, and I haven't shaved in a long time.
I have a beard, so.
Just frazzled all over. But yeah, whatever.
It's important. We'll see you around, Jack.
See you around, Doc.
And she turns and heads back into her house.
Pop a slice of the orange in my mouth as I walk home.
It's delicious.
At one point during the 2 weeks, I offered to infuse a different gun of yours if you'd prefer.
Oh, man. Appreciate the offer. I never thought I'd have to use this thing again, to be honest. But times are changing.
The rifle. Okay, so
Yeah.
one of the mornings I wake up at the tea shop and I go, ding, 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 ding. And then almost magically, all of a sudden now your revolver is now regular again, but your rifle is now magical.
Magic rifle.
If you don't put a bullet in it, it makes the bullet and so on and so forth, +1 to attack and damage.
I still don't get how this thing works, but I appreciate it. It's been a huge help.
You seemed hesitant when I did the revolver. I thought you might have had a better old trusty.
Debatable, but yeah, she's alright.
She's alright.
Old musty.
Yeah.
It's a musket.
Perfect. Old musket.
Old muskie.
Not a musket.
All right.
It has a rifle barrel.
So, with that, is there anything else that JJ would have liked to have accomplished during this 2-week period?
Nothing I can think of.
Big chillin'? Got it. Last but not least, our dear old wizard friend, Xeris. Other than the brief interjections and all of your friends' lives getting closer to them, what were you up to in this 2 weeks' time?
Studying.
Just big studying, just reading books. You know?
Yeah, so probably during quote-unquote working days, I was working on crafting spells, and upon gaining influence from Amara's wonderful scrollular sidearm, I got myself a scrollster.
Yep.
Hold all my scrolls.
Will you describe a scrollster to our viewers and listeners?
And me.
Well, it's a holster for scrolls.
Yeah.
Quick release.
What was that?
Quick release.
Quick release, but still very secure. Only comes out when I want it to. And check my character art that we posted too to see it. It's really awesome.
It is, yeah.
Very cool.
Loved it.
Yeah. And so, aside from working on getting a couple scrolls put together, I definitely wanted to spend some time with my new companions, kind of strengthening my bonds. So,
And your jaw.
huh?
And your jaw.
Yeah, strengthening my jaw. We already saw that. And I probably would have popped in with everyone respectively. Probably helped JJ around the clinic, just like, almost being more of a burden, probably. but like wanting to help me. Like, okay, now what do you want me to do? Okay, now what? Like, you got to tell me every little thing to do. But probably through that, maybe learning a little bit more about just like some medical type things.
Sure.
And then with Thalner, learning more about teas and non-alcoholic brews there.
Got a bad taste in my throat.
Prestidigitation.
Maybe some kombucha.
What was that?
Maybe some kombucha.
Yep.
Some kombucha.
And then learning a little bit of some of the business savvy knowledge from Thalner, and also sharing a little bit of knowledge about some magic, some mysteries and wonders of the multiverse, as it were.
Kind of discussed how we use magic differently to achieve different ends, as far as manipulating the physical world versus manipulating mental, and how that works, and all the different fun magic conversations that we could have. Just over tea on one of my slow days.
Spent a good amount of time with Leon during this time too. The very forward but like good heart about Leon, Xeris definitely really appreciates. I probably spent a lot of time bonding there.
2 peas in a pod.
Yeah. The very skinny, not strong one, and the very strong one. Roscoe definitely had some drinks probably before the fight night.
Before, during, after.
Definitely after.
But I did enjoy some of that. It was probably one of the first times, well, definitely the first time Xeris knows that he got drunk. Because I passed all those con saves up till that point. Popped in with Salvo, and Malachi kind of, what you guys working on type of thing.
Right.
Does Salvo. Well, you guys say NDA, so yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll say that I proposed that NDA some point during the 2 weeks, but I've not written it up yet because you see me pounding away on this armor. Like, I'm very busy. I'm sorry. I'm not.
You got to listen. Okay.
You have not seen Salvo outside of her normal armor, though, up till this point, I suppose.
I would have just had you had you as a prestidigitation machine.
Yeah,
Cleaning
Cleaning the blood.
That wound, that blood.
mage hand flying, freaking helping out.
Scalpel. Mage hand.
Yep.
Love it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's actually very
I need
helpful.
new gauze. No, you don't. Check again. It's clean. Wow.
So that would actually be
Mage
really
in the
helpful.
medical field would be super good.
A mage as a nurse's assistant would be
Really good. No
solid.
taken.
Not wrong.
Okay. But aside from that, I wanted to talk to. Xeris took Paula's passing very, very hard. That was his Malachi, although short-lived. He learned everything he knew through her, essentially. Very, very much looked up to her. Yeah. So he definitely took that hard. And kind of call back to episode 1, I really want to join the Abjurai. And so I don't know who I'd talk to about this other than Amara. So I probably would have brought that up to her.
At this time, Amara has assumed the station of authority within the Grand Spire Citadel, but within discussions, you quickly see that this is a very temporary thing, and they're looking for the next Abjurai Prime. Which, in that conversation of joining the Abjurai, she begins to tell you, like, joining the Abjurai is going to be something that is very important that you stay around for. They maintain the paling, and they maintain all of the wards throughout the city that protect from certain kinds of magics. Is this something that you're truly wanting to explore?
Now that you put it that way, no. Learn that forwardness from Leon. No, I think I could help the Abjurai more not being a part of it. Yeah, by helping keep the city safe from maybe a little bit of time outside the paling.
Xeris, curiously enough, I do know quite a bit of Paula's opinion of you. A couple of things that were mildly alarming for myself, and a couple of things that I feel that you deserve to hear. To ease your mind about the alarming things, she was very concerned about your existence, your nature in this place, how you are able to portal in to our city that is very well protected. Her theory is that you didn't simply portal in from another place in this world, and more likely that you portaled in from a different one.
What would that entail?
Are you familiar with planes of existence?
I've read of them, yes.
It's much more likely. Yeah, I should probably change that music.
Planes of existence!
Oh, that's combat. What is happening?
PLA.
Oh no.
Planes of existence?
Oh no, that's
Green,
all right.
grassy plains.
It's a meadow of existence.
Meadows of existence.
Okay, back in it.
With a babbling creek of
Grassy
existence.
knolls of existence.
Poop river.
It is unlikely that anyone can make it past the paling through teleportation magic, portal magic, the like. The fact that you did, her personal opinion of the magic involved was that whether it was a alternate reality, a separate plane of existence, for example, what I know of a place called the Far Realm, it is an exact copy of our world, except one made in shadow. There are other planes of existence that are similar, the Feywild. She digresses a little bit and says,
Yeah, I do recall reading about some of those. So you think that I might have come from another one of these planes?
it's very likely. No one can portal in and out of this city on this plane of existence. The fact that you did is indicative that you were already in the city or you were on another plane. That's about as much as she had shared with me on that matter, and on future matters, she has never seen someone with the caliber and affinity to learn magic as quickly and as naturally as you do. She had shared with me that she wanted to recruit you to be an Abjurai at some point, and potentially take her place whenever it is time for her to take her new persona, which is something that she and I have been doing for a few centuries.
Well, looks like there's plenty to look forward to then. He makes a pained smile.
At any point that you need to use the Grand Spire's library or speak to anyone upon magical knowledge, you have unlimited access to what we have to offer here. Soon, we will appoint a new Abjurai Prime, and you will have to answer to them in the meantime. But in between then and now, please look into whatever it is that you need to find in order to maintain this investigation with your new group, as your friend Roscoe had so eloquently put.
Yes. Whoever takes Paula's place, I know the shoes are too big for anyone to fill, but do you know if the potential candidates are good in nature? It seems the chromatic spiral runs deep, and I would hate for it to be someone like Cassius, for example.
Definitely not Cassius, as we can't find him.
Or someone of the like.
What I can promise you is that I've already got it approved through the council that you more or less can be rest assured that anyone to come in to take the Abjurai's Prime place will be placed under a complete magical invocation of truth and honesty, as well as being examined deep into their mind. The protection of this city is Prime, hence the title.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mom. And I grab her warm hand.
It's very, very warm.
You know, I found through a description earlier that I never said, but a previous episode, the reason why her hands are so warm, my theory, is that she always keeps them tucked inside her arms. You had said that? So I think that's
They're just cozy.
anyways, yeah. Take her hand and say thank you
You're welcome, Sirius.
and make my way.
Okay. What else you got going on?
I think that's about it. I want to say that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Practicing a little bit of magic, learning a little bit of magic, making some scrolls, doing my pop-ins.
Sure. So, to weave all of this together, what's up?
And specifically one thing I wanted to learn about is more about this world. So like general history things to help give, that was probably actually a majority of my research is because I don't know about, inside the paling is all I know.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
So I want to learn more about the world and things like that. So obviously it's not like that could all be here, but maybe a possibility for history checks in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll actually put that as a note. Like, typically you as Xeris would have disadvantage on most history checks. We'll say that moving forward, that disadvantage will be negated only specifically because of research.
Gotcha.
So from there, we're going to weave this all together. It is the end of the 2 weeks, and I would like to say that this scene now rests once again inside of the tea shop, steep in the cups. The rest of you all together, Tyro has just locked up the doors for the evening, and not before setting a kettle of some fresh brew onto the table that you guys all sit at. And you guys find yourselves together at the end of these 2 weeks. What you guys got going on here?
I present an NDA.
Or 5.
I need coffee.
It's
I'll get it for you in just a second.
Yep. And I also I have Malachi join us as well.
He's here, and so is Stack.
Okay, I was about to say.
Where's the boy?
So we've
Give us the boy.
after during some of my downtime, I've drafted up a pretty concise document. I tell Malachi, this is the only way I think that I could make this work without violating any of my policies by structurally making all of you my subordinates. I realize the absurdity of that for you, Malachi. This is purely in paper as research assistants.
Sometimes science and the need for progression supersedes pride. Continue, Salvo.
Upon signing these agreements, you will agree to not disclose any of this information to anyone outside of the group who has signed the documents. And without going into a bunch of legalese, it's a very, very concise, very verbose agreement. And then I turn to Roscoe and I say, anything we say, we don't say to anyone else. And I say that to Stack too, but also to
I open
Roscoe.
up my paper, it says, don't talk about shit.
It's literally like a face with like an X over the mouth.
This is 1 page. The rest of it.
And
I have a question.
yes, Stack.
Does this, in circumstances, make you similar to Malachi with our prior agreement?
Malachi?
I believe he's talking about when he told me about his designation.
Yes. I'm asking you if you will allow this to now have the same level of...
I plan on signing the papers.
Perfect.
So, yes, Stack. Okay.
Lawyer?
Yeah. I tell you, this will allow me to discuss certain things that I have not been able to discuss.
All right. I take out my dragon dagger, slit my thumb, and put my thumbprint on it.
Oh, me too. I don't have any blood. Can I borrow some of yours?
Yeah.
He like smears his hand on it and just kind of places his hand on the paper, and there's a bloody
Okay, so I have
Stack
like
hand.
one with like a big stack hand on it, one with a thumbprint from him. Other 4 of you?
And I do sign
I try handing my dagger.
Downer Stonesinger.
I bite my thumb and
Lots of blood, okay.
How do you guys? I've only done one
Why are you
contract, and it was
using
when
blood?
I
I turn to Malachi, I'm like, is blood binding? Right?
Typically, it's more binding than an
More than
actual
a
signature.
Fair enough, all right.
That's how I joined the pirate crew. It's the only other thing I ever signed.
We usually just
I'm a pirate now.
sign in ink, but okay.
Yeah.
Your
Dumping
preference, I would accept a signature in ink. This is more of a semantic than anything else.
Very scribbly signature.
If you want to use blood, you're welcome to. They have, Xeris.
Ink's fine.
So, can I pull you aside for just a second?
Okay.
You see, I don't, mind signing this or anything, but it's just one word. This subordinate.
It says research assistance to aid in the efforts of research. It's very vague, but it's also very broad, so that it's not actually making you my subordinate.
Yeah.
How about this? Partner. I use my magical quill to.
I don't have the authority to make you my partner.
Who does?
My superior.
Which is not me, by the way.
Just sign the damn paper. Holy shit.
I'll cut your thumb for you, man.
I was authorized to obtain research assistance. I'm not able to promote anyone to my level or higher.
Look at this guy. He freaking signed it.
The Grand Mason of the Izzet College signed it.
It's a loophole, but you're welcome to hang out outside.
I mean, yeah, you can hang out while we talk about all the cool stuff.
Xeris.
I like hanging out.
I actually don't care about what the hell he's gonna say, but I'm gonna know when you're not.
We have a private conversation to have between research assistants. You can hang out outside.
Do we get lab coats?
I want a lab coat.
Xeris,
Yes, if you'd like.
it is tough for Xeris, but you see him swallow his pride.
love this so much.
And he takes out his magical quill from thin air.
Regular pen.
This will do fine.
I don't know. You just changed those words earlier.
It changed back.
As your lawyer, I tell you to use a regular pen.
You could use blood. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Xeris?
If you don't remember anything, how maybe you were someone's subordinate. You didn't know.
I had the documents all over. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna ask. Oh, this is so dumb. Okay, I would ask Grad Mason to witness everyone else's, and then I will ask.
He's notarizing all the documents.
And then I would ask.
Me and Stack put blood on each other's.
I'm gonna ask Thowner to witness Malachi's. Okay.
Makes sense.
It's all witnessed.
Alrighty.
It's all signed.
This is all agreed. Everyone here is a research assistant. Again, this is
Even
purely
paperwork
for
is boring.
it's semantics, so that should more things happen, I will be protected.
So,
That's
Roscoe, does this mean you still have Wednesdays off?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
My contract.
Yes.
Oh.
There are no time requirements. There are no work requirements. There is no chain of command. Purely a title, if that.
And a loud coat.
Sure.
I want to know.
Okay. Well,
And
almost. I'm going to tell you.
you don't want
Eventually,
to
right now. Just
I'm going to tell you
this
that.
very second.
Yeah.
I
right
want to
now.
know right
Yeah.
now.
I'm going to tell you that
I put my blood on it.
I was stationed after graduation from the Azit College on a island named Aether Rock, which is a research facility for some of the bleeding edge of technology. It's one of the smallest locations to have a paling. I was sent there immediately after graduation, and that's where we end session.
Oh. Okay.
So
I was gonna
we
say,
will we will pick up next session with Salvo describing to you exactly what her research was about on Aether Rock.
Oh wow.
Oh. With that being said, I had a lot of fun with you guys today.
good.
I know there's like a lot of solo moments and all that stuff.
I enjoyed everyone's solo moments.
it felt.
Wake up.
Sorry, it's really late.
Why'd you put a makeup on a table? Sorry.
It felt very much like a lot of these like ends started to come together into this like one single both like understanding and objective, and it's very satisfying.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching Scales of Fate. I know this was a much longer episode than we typically go for. Is it much longer?
Yes.
A little bit longer. Okay.
It's not quite one. It's not quite
Not
one.
quite one, yeah.
but
Well,
it's
those are
up there.
reserved for BBG fights.
But you know, it's the beginning of a new arc. I'd say it makes
yeah,
sense.
you know, it just crashes into the tea shop and starts eating everybody.
Whoa! We just fixed it up.
I know.
Stack
Okay.
is the BBG.
You know? Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate your love and support so much. Do you guys have anything to say to our viewers and fans?
Love you.
Love you. Thank
Come
you.
in next week to hear the secrets.
The
I know.
secrets of Salvo Ma.
It's all coming together.
Even Malachi signed that one.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're heading out. Adios next Monday.